Oh, we got no sound.
Oh, no.
Sound would sure help.
Okay, now we're back with sound. Okay.
Upgrade.
Wait, if we're gonna redo that, can I grab a light real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Or,
Yeah,
I didn't
you're
realize how shadowy
cast
I
in
am.
shadow.
Yeah.
Right. Hello. Now we have sound. Good. Sorry about that. My name is Rudy Bassett. This is an episode of DSPN Presents. Today we're playing Timewatch, which is a gumshoe-based time-traveling police RPG. This is a game that Vegas Lancaster originally ran for me and some of my friends at a convention. It was so much fun that I asked him to run it for us on the network. So let's go around the table and everyone just introduce yourself. Let me know maybe what you do in the world of tabletop role-playing games, or what you do outside of tabletop role-playing games, if that's what you want to share with us. You be the judge. Let's start with our game master, Vegas Lancaster.
Hey, you guys might know me. I'm a frequent guest on Don't Split the Podcast Network because I'm friends with Rudy. And that means being a frequent guest on this podcast network. I also
Friend of the show, I think, is the technical term.
I also am a stand-up comedian and an improv comedian with the N Crowd in Philadelphia and my musical duo, Cat and Vegas and the Temple of Boom.
They're great. Let's move along the circle clockwise. Jeff Stormer, tell me about yourself.
Hey, I am Jeff Stormer. I do 1.5 million things for tabletop role-playing games. I give up too much of my time to them, which I think is a common theme to all of us. But I am the host of Party of One, which is an actual play podcast focused on two-player role-playing games. Every week we sit down with a guest one-on-one, and we play through a short self-contained RPG session. You can find that at partyofonepodcast.com. I also host All My Fantasy Children, which is a tabletop character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by listener props. Every week we take a prompt given to us via Twitter, Facebook, Discord, etc., and spin them into a tabletop character using role-playing games and story generators and all kinds of good stuff. You can find that at allmyfantasychildren.com.
Busy man, who are you playing today in Timewatch?
I am playing... Well, my name isn't strictly translatable to the Homo sapien tongue, per se, but I guess Skeg is a pretty decent nickname. It's a pretty decent amalgamation of names. You've probably noticed that I am what you humans tend to call a sophosaur, which is a psychic velociraptor. You see, in the correct timeline, in the correct version of Earth, that meteor never landed, and dinosaurs grew into this beautiful, intelligent, hyper-evolved species. And, some of our kind have fled into the timeline to try and reclaim this version of Earth. I don't like that, and so I have joined Timewatch. I am here to make things right, sort of.
Cool.
Yeah, to preserve the destruction of your species.
Well, listen. Is this Earth the best possible Earth? No. There are no dinosaurs. You have birds. And have you seen birds? But we can't take something from an entire civilization. We can't take something from an entire timeline. That's not fair.
Cool. Can't wait to hear that more expanded upon in the game. Next up, Cat, Faye, who are you, and who are you playing?
Who am I, Rudy? Who am I? I'm Kat. I am the DM on Dames and Dragons, which is an actual play podcast on Don't Split the Podcast Network. That's really all I do in tabletop land, besides just, guest whenever Rudy calls for me. Just come when he beckons, like many of us do. And I am going to be playing... I really hope I don't mispronounce this, but I'm probably gonna. Vidvan Saka 5? Maybe?
If you say so.
Unfortunately, I did not take the time to figure out exactly how to pronounce it, but it is Punjabi. So we'll just call her Viv, because I think that's the nickname that's on a lot of the character sheets. And she is, or rather I am, I'm a normal human being. Like many normal human beings, I was, named after the Hindi destroyer and the shape-shifting assassin cyborg, but no, totally a normal human who's a shape-shifting assassin cyborg, but totally normal.
Totally normal. That's how everyone who's normal introduces themselves.
Yeah, that's me, a very normal human being. My hands turn into knives, but that's a normal human thing.
Sure.
In the Pakistani nuclear dead zone of 2043, everyone's hands can turn into knives.
Duh. All right, next up, Lysa Chen.
I'm Lysa Chen. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday! Yay, thank you. I'm also a writer for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I am one of the Dungeon Masters Guild adepts. I am the associate community manager for the Adventurers League, D&D's official play, and I also produce and host a podcast called Behold Her, all about women in tabletop RPGs. Today, I will be playing Mace Hunter, who is a big game hunter from 1843 in Great Britain. I am daring and dashing and a man of action in love and the hunt. Sometimes those are the same thing.
Oh. Okay, and last we have Shane from Total Party Thrill podcast.
So
Right?
and done.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'm one of the hosts of Total Party Thrill, which is a RPG discussion podcast. I am also a person who occasionally says hello to Rudy at conventions. And that's the other way to get on this show, apparently. So anyway, I am playing Dr. Leah Breen, who is a chronoscientist, a veritable genius, actually, an unappreciated one, untrusted, frankly. Though none of you appreciate my brilliance, I assure you that it is omnipresent. And I hope to remind you all of just how smart I am and how foolish each of you are.
Cool.
Also, I
Cool.
probably invented time travel, just saying. Obviously, a lot of people invented time travel because of time streams, but, I was the first.
Right. You're like Al Gore with the internet. You're the one everybody, for some reason, correlates the invention of the internet to. Okay, cool.
Or Leibniz with calculus, right, Newton fans?
Vegas.
Yeah, get that niche humor. Ooh, math nerds. Got any math nerds out there? Nobody in tabletop gaming likes math.
So we're not going to go through all the rules and mechanics right now because we do have a limited time frame to play this game in. But I wanted to go over with you what you are. As you've heard, as you've heard, thank you, Rudy. As you've heard, all of you are weirdos, and it seems like an odd mishmash of characters, but that's because you all are time cops for the Timewatch, which is an organization with a citadel that exists just before the Big Bang outside of time, whose mission is to preserve the time stream and prevent time shenanigans. And they recruit great people from all time periods of history to serve in that mission. And that's what all of you are together. You're a team of time cops. You do have some pretty cool technology you can use in your missions, which you see on your character sheets. You all have small personal time machines, which you can use at any time to jump to any time period or precise time and location that you want. The problem with time travel is that the more you do it, the more it disrupts your own chronal stability. If you look at the bottom of your sheet next to your health, you also have another status indicator called chronal stability. And every time you jump through time, you need to pass a time travel test or you'll start losing chronal stability. If you go down far enough, you start to fade out of existence like Marty McFly.
Nice.
But you can like jump through time to try to do time shenanigans and stuff. You do want to avoid creating logical paradoxes when you do that. So you could be like, hey, I'm going to jump back in time to put a gun in this drawer. So when I open the drawer, there will be a gun in it. But if you've already opened the drawer and know what's inside, then that's creating a paradox. So it's a more significant time travel test you would have to pass in order to do it. Besides that, you have your pacifist disruptor, which is a close range kind of stun gun to knock people out without killing them. And you have mem tags, which are little tags that you can put on people to send a signal back to the time citadel so that they can send a cleanup team to grab that person out of time, take them back to the citadel, erase their memory Men in Black style, and bring them back there like nothing ever happened. And you use those to prevent paradoxes if people from like the 1400s see a laser gun or something like that. The problem with mem tags is it causes insanity if you use it on a person who is conscious, and the Timewatch bureaucracy really doesn't like that. So you have to try to knock someone out before you can hit them with a mem tag. And that was all. You also have translators, so you don't need to worry about language in any time period. And if you happen to look like a dinosaur, you have a impersonator mesh. You all have this.
Is that directed at me?
You specifically. The impersonator mesh will change your clothes to look like the appropriate time period. And if you're a dinosaur or something else that's very unusual looking, it won't disguise you from people's view, but it'll make them tend to ignore you unless you interact with them directly. So like, say you go to the Coliseum and you're hanging out in the audience, no one's going to pay attention to that dinosaur unless the dinosaur says, "Hey, buddy, are you enjoying this Coliseum match?" And that was all the things I wanted to go over with you real quick, except for stitches, which are the inspiration points of Timewatch. Because there's 4 players, there are 12 total available for use. You each start with 1 stitch, and if you like something that another player is doing, you say, "I give a stitch to them." I won't give them out to you guys. You give them to each other when you enjoy each other's role-playing or just cool game stuff. I'll be keeping track to make sure we didn't exceed the limit of them over here. And when you spend a stitch, it goes back into the pool. So you're not going to run out as long as you're using them frequently. And you can use a stitch to automatically succeed on a time travel test for jumping through time, or to add a point on a roll, add a point to someone else's roll, add a point to damage in combat, or subtract points from damage in combat. And those are the things. Guys, it's 1942. And you are all on a British warplane somewhere over Nazi Germany. You were ordered by Timewatch headquarters to come and do military observation because they anticipated a time disturbance in this time period. You're in a British Bristol Blenheim light bomber, which has room for 2 crew and 6 passengers. And you have a pilot named Jimmy who's flying the plane for you. And you hear through your radio, 9! An old man's voice crackles through the plane's radio speaker. "You have ruined my life for the last time! You have destroyed everything I stand for and brought about ruin to my fatherland! But now, finally, I gain vengeance! Now you die!" And you hear the sound of a power generator whirring up, and blue-white lasers sear through your plane, killing the pilot Jimmy and taking out one of the plane's engines. You have no idea who the old German man is. It's after midnight and your plane is starting to go down. What do you do?
Huh.
Oh.
Well, this is quite a dilemma, isn't it? I'm a bit
Well.
I'm a bit unnerved.
We casually say as the plane plummets to our deck.
Well, this is kind of inconvenient. Well, I mean, it's a time travel game. Can we jump back and get the plane to move out of the way of the lasers?
What? So you know that the plane was already hit by the lasers?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
right.
that would cause a paradox. You could do that, but it would be a difficult test.
Probably not the greatest thing to do as the first move in this game. Well, pilot's already dead. There's 4 of us. You said it was 6 people in the plane total?
It can hold 6.
Okay.
You're the only other people on board.
If,
Okay. Well,
if we jump, we can't jump backwards. We could jump forwards until after the plane has already crashed, and then just be on the ground safely.
Yeah, you can do that.
I like that. I like the way you think.
There's no paradox there because we won't be in the plane because we will have blinked out of the plane to jump into the future.
All
We're
right.
really bad for that empty plane.
I mean, we can't save Jimmy. Jimmy's already gone. Let's have a moment of silence for Jimmy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Jimmy
who's-
was your closest teammate. It was a 5-man squad.
Under his breath, Mace will just say it's a typical Sophosaur reaction.
Yeah,
I'm just-
it is a
I'm just
typical
kidding
Sophosaur
about you.
reaction. I'm planning how to succeed the mission. You're busy with your human associations. Let's get to the
Dr.
ground.
Dr. Breen is very confused as to who Jimmy actually was.
Well, okay. How
All
do
right,
we...
as we're all arguing, I'm like programming my my autochron on my
Okay.
wrist.
Yeah,
Sure.
Cool. So if that's what you want to do, you need to pass a time travel test to move through time. And you're going to roll a d6. The score you want to hit to succeed without taking stability damage is a 4. And you can spend points to improve that test. Points in.
That's a 1. I rolled a 1.
I also rolled a 1.
Neat. Cool. Starting
Sweet.
us off.
Good. We're learning about the game, and we learn what happens when you fail. That's more
okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I got 5.
all right, you do it. I mean, you all do it, but you are both of you will take 2 points of chronal damage.
Okay.
Oh, we all have to do this individually.
Yeah.
I got a 3.
All right. You can take 1 point of chronal damage.
Okay.
So we're blipping into the future, like sort of next to where the plane crashes, or down where we were planning to go?
That's up to you guys.
I'm asking the team.
I'd rather like
Yeah.
to explore where the plane crashes and see if we jump just ahead to just after the plane crashes, maybe like half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Then anybody that might be trying to take us out may have already, like, maybe moving on the plane and we could get the jump on them.
I like that.
I like that too.
All right. I will meet you at the scene of the crash.
All right. Boop. I don't know if this is how time travel works, but Mace, when he appears there, is going to do sort of like a barrel roll. Really, really stylish. And then I'm going to immediately look to see how Dr. Breen reacts.
So Dr. Breen does know how time travel works and knows that that was totally put upon. That said, she is moderately impressed. She does appreciate you as a physical specimen.
Everyone does.
As the only one that succeeded at the
Going
time
smart.
travel roll, I think I'm just like, I think you're all appearing and I'm just already there, like legs crossed on a chunk of metal, like, well, Nice of you to join us.
What does it mean to take chronal stability damage? Like, do I think I'm barrel rolling, but I'm just like flailing and
you can feel the time stream pulling at you in a very disconcerting way, and you know if that happens too much that you can be literally ripped apart by time.
Okay. Cool. So when Viv appears, her arms are airplane jets for just a moment, and then turn back into normal human arms, and she's just like, "Well, that was a completely normal experience that we all just had. It was very normal for everyone, right?"
Note to self: Vid is talking about being normal again, without any prompting or suspicion, again.
I can't be the only one that sees this, right? I can't be the only one that sees this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your time machines automatically aim to appear in a spot where you're unobserved by other people. So you do show up in this Nazi potato field about 50 yards from where the plane actually crashed. And you see smoke and fire coming from the debris.
Viv reaches down into the field and just grabs a potato out and takes a bite.
It tastes just like regular potatoes.
Yeah, well, but she says we should all eat to regain our strength, the way that humans do.
This is also how we react in character.
Why are none of you eating these potatoes? They are delicious.
I feel bad for podcast people as opposed to Twitch people who can't see your faces. In the distance, silhouetted against the fire of your crash, you see a lone figure walking towards it.
We should approach our prey carefully and quietly. Are we able to?
She's a big game hunter.
I have, just out of reaction, I have old Bessie, which is my elephant gun, out. I'm used to it.
Now, I hear what you're saying about quietly and carefully, but Mace, old friend, I think that you and I both know that we kind of just want to, run in there, and I kind of point at your elephant gun. Hypothetically, guns blazing. Hypothetically.
It will sprint and we will lose it. I think we should get closer, so we can observe and put together a good shot.
All right, I like the way you think. I like your hunter's mind.
Perhaps we should surround the target. I can go around behind him without him noticing. Using normal stealth tactics that all other humans use.
Yes, typical humans like us.
Typical humans. And dinosaurs. Dinosaurs also use these stealth tactics that I will use to go behind him and surround him in case of any trouble. Goodbye! And then Viv's she's gonna sneak off. Do I need to make a stealth roll to try and get behind him of some sort? Spying?
Sure. Why don't you make so you can use any of the general abilities that you think are relevant here, and roll a check and just succeed on a 4. So you could use unobtrusiveness or burglary, depending on how you think you're approaching.
Unobtrusiveness, and the way that Viv is doing this is that she is just shape-shifting into various unobtrusive objects as she approaches.
Yeah.
So she just takes 2 steps and becomes a fence post, and then takes another 3 steps and is a potato. Ooh, and that is a 4.
Cool. So he doesn't notice you, and when you get pretty close up to him, you see that it is an older German guy, and he's wearing a Nazi German uniform. If you look real closely, he has pins on the neck of the uniform that are a skull with a clock behind it. And on his in his hand is a very not typical of the time period laser pistol.
Not a typical laser pistol.
Yeah, not the typical Nazi German laser pistol, I see.
Yeah, from your knowledge of world history, you know there were no laser guns in World War II.
That's why the Germans lost. They didn't have laser guns. Okay. So now you can feel free to tell me no, but can I turn into a button on this guy's coat?
I feel like you have to retain your mass.
Probably. Okay. All right.
Really
Fair
big
enough.
Very, very
button.
dense button on this guy's coat.
A really heavy button. All right. Well, I'm just gonna sort of continue to follow him and keep distance, but observe what he's doing.
Okay. Well, then you hear him monologue to himself. I have done it! I have destroyed my lifelong enemies who have harried me this entire time! And he starts firing laser pistol into your wreckage. And he goes, ah ha 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 ha.
Well, Mace, old buddy, old pal, I'm gonna leave the quiet, stealthy approach to you. I'm gonna go tackle this Nazi.
Mace, as the camera pans over, is like covered in leaves and mud. That's what he was doing as Vid was shape-shifting over. And he's like, no, but all of this, and the soft sword just goes running. I guess I'll run after you, now that our cover is blown.
I'm gonna make an athletics roll to tackle him.
Sure.
I'm gonna spend 2 points of athletics to add 2 to my roll, so I just have to roll a 2 or better.
Correct. Assuming his defense is a 4.
That is 1, so I did not roll this 1. And I don't believe I could spend another point to make that a success.
So as you run up behind him and attempt to tackle, he turns over his shoulder and goes, 9! And dodges somewhat nimbly for an old man.
Haha! A fight!
Since I was running after Skeg, and I see the old time travel Nazi dive one way, can I try to leap on him?
Yeah, so here's how initiative goes in Timewatch.
Okay.
After you take an action, you choose who goes next. You can pick an ally or a adversary. After everyone has gone, a new turn starts, and the person who went last at the end of that turn chooses who goes first at the start of the next turn, and they can choose themselves if they want.
Cool.
So Jeff, choose who goes next.
I'm going to choose Mace Hunter. Take that shot, make that tackle. Do your
Alright.
huntery things.
Mace is going to... Actually, I have the gun out. Can I shoot a piece of the wreckage to try to get it to fall on this guy and pin him?
Sure.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
there's a wing hanging above him. Why not?
Yeah, I'm going to try and shoot the wing with old Bessie.
Cool.
And I guess I'll use 2 of my shooting points.
Okay. I'm going to say this is a 5 to succeed. Because
I rolled a 3, so I get exactly a 5.
All right. So you hit this wing from this old plane, and it collapses down on the Nazi, knocking him to the ground and pinning him under it.
All right, I'm going to spin old Bessie and, like, do something impressive with it and then look to see if the doctor is checking out what I did. And then I will let Dr. Breen go next.
So Dr. Breen was a bit taken aback by how quickly everybody went off to stealth around. That's not really like my strong suit, especially because I'm wearing a white doctor's lab coat.
At all times.
So Dr. Breen is just sort of Amelia approaches and now sees that you have started the fight, and produces from her pocket a tractor ray, which she. So I have an ability that allows me to spend to spend a point of science to immediately produce high-tech inventions that you actually assembled earlier.
That's awesome.
So I will use my tractor beam ray gun to disarm the Nazi gentleman that has been pinned by the wreckage.
Awesome. Yeah. So I would say it's just a 3 to succeed on that, because he's a bit stunned by a plane falling on him.
Oh, just a bit. Okay. Perfect. So I will. It's a shooting, right?
Yeah, I think shooting makes sense.
Okay, cool. So I'll spend a point of shooting, and I rolled a 4, so that succeeds.
His laser pistol flies out of his hand and into yours.
And I start to kind of look at it, turn it over in my hands, and kind of interesting design that you have here, my Nazi adversary.
You see blood starting to come out from under him, and you see it looks like he's having difficulty breathing.
Oops.
So who's sorry?
You choose who goes next.
Oh, sorry. Who didn't go yet?
I haven't gone, but there's not much I can do about a bleeding man because I cannot actually heal anyone other than myself.
Yeah, she hasn't gone, and the Nazi hasn't gone.
So I guess I'll let the Nazi go? Right?
Awesome.
Vid can't do anything.
No. I guess I could intimidate him, but oh well.
You see him trying to reach for his arm, which is under the wing, but can't quite get to it. And he's like, you've trapped me here. 9. Because his time machine is on his arm.
Nice. Is it my turn now?
Yeah, he says, yeah, it's your turn. I'm sorry, Kat.
Okay. No worries. I am going to shapeshift out of the bush that I was in. And I'm going to intimidate him, which I have as an ability.
Sure,
How
do
does
it.
that work? Do I just do it?
Yeah, so you would, basically the way the abilities that are in yellow work is you spend the point, and instead of making a roll, you use it in a way that you describe to get a clue to advance the mystery.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna, so Viv is gonna go over, and she's gonna put a foot on top of the wing of the plane that is pinning him, and she is much heavier than she looks, so this is actually quite a bit of force. And she's going to lean down really close to him and say, "What's your name?"
Oh, my God. You don't even know me. Oh, Viv, Dr. Bream, Mace Hunter, Skeg. Oh, all my life I have tried, but now it ends. And you see the life escaping from him as his old man body breathes its last breath. And when you get up and look close to him, you can see that like his skin is all riddled in like tumors, and he's super old.
This human appears to be very old.
Old and dead.
He also appears to no longer be moving. Doctor, you should do something about that. Yes?
I don't know how many times I have to explain this to you. I'm not that kind of doctor.
But you wear a white coat, and white coats are doctors.
Okay,
Yes?
fine. I'll take a look at him. Fine.
We could try cutting him open and counting the rings. That's how humans work, right? With the rings.
I believe so. I believe that they have rings, that we have rings, that all of us humans have rings.
I keep old Bessie out just in case.
Note to self: I'm surrounded by idiots. So this is investigation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I spend medical expertise to understand what's going on? I mean, obviously his cause of death is airplane wing, but I would like to know a little bit more about maybe his tumors.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you investigate him, you can, use some technology stuff and some knowledge that you have and figure out the airplane certainly expedited his death, but he was very close to death of natural causes, like probably any day now.
So I try to summarize this as best I can for you. This once living Nazi is now a very good Nazi, a dead Nazi.
Correct.
Yeah, it checks out.
But if the wing hadn't done it, the tumors would have.
Yes.
Can I search him and see if he has any sort of identifying information on him?
Yeah, you can. So when you search him, the uniform that he's wearing, even though he had like a laser pistol and stuff, the uniform is actually current to the time period that you're in right now. But it's very like threadbare, like it wasn't made recently, even though it looks like it belongs in this time period. He's got like a Casio watch from the 80s on one wrist. And in his pocket, you find a wallet with an ID card, and it's like a driver's license from like the 70s from Kansas. And it lists his name as Oscar Tote.
I would also like to check the left side lapel of his uniform where any good serviceman would have his name and measurements written.
Gotcha. His name again is Oscar Tote. It's Todt. And
so this is his uniform. Okay.
And his measurements are average.
I would like to walk up with lots of swagger, rip the airplane wing aside, and grab his time machine device to see if maybe it has the last place he traveled from.
Sure. Can you give me a tinkering or general ability, or spend a technical ability, something to recover that data?
Please don't break it.
I will use tinkering.
Mm-hmm.
I will spend one of my points. Oh, I got a total of 6.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, you can tell that he had been in a time period far in the future recently, which is where the laser pistol and the laser beams that were attached to his warplane would have come from. So it might be that he had gone there to acquire those things before coming back and trying to kill you.
Could I use a point of authority? Well, that's an interpersonal. Maybe timecraft even. I want to study this. I want to study his badge, or the skull with the clock behind it. I suspect that might not be period accurate. Could I spend a point to look into that?
You can, and you if you search it in the Timewatch database, you actually realize that he was a member of the Nazi Time Corps, which don't exist in the real timeline, but were a branch of Nazi officers that were given time machines by by the Nazi government in order to do acts of war and stuff. But they, for whatever reason, don't actually exist in this timeline. Like, they were prevented from ever existing.
Hmm.
But you've seen records of them showing up here or there before.
I see.
And at that, what's going on? All right. I see people like flickering in and out of the Skype call.
Oh, I'm just hearing lots of high-pitched little pips. I assumed maybe there was a loose bird inside the Skype, but
So after you guys gather that information, you feel a vibration in your time machines, and that is the tether, which calls you back to the Time Citadel. It's the way they can tell you, you're needed back at headquarters.
Well, time to return home to our home.
Before we do that, I'm just going to turn to Vid and say, your ability to stealth is unrivaled. You would make an amazing hunter. I didn't even see you in that bush. And I turn and, I don't know where the bush has gone. That's weird. And then I'm just going to, does your human form have hair?
Yes.
I'm just going to brush some aside so it's not in your eyes.
Viv reaches out a hand and just puts it on Mace's face, and then pushes his hair up, and then pats him on the head and turns to leave.
Dr. Breen did not see the second half of that interaction. She just kind of bristled at the at Mace's affection, and turns around and blinks out back to the Citadel.
So you do need to make a travel test to travel
Okay.
through time back to the Citadel. And that's just a D6 roll.
And is there a spend to make that, or is it just...
So you can spend one of your stitches, the stitch in time, to automatically succeed on travel tests.
That is a 5. I am very good at this time travel thing.
That was a 3.
You lose a point of chronal stability.
I am not doing great in the chronal stability front today, boys.
It's not good.
I also rolled a 5.
No issues?
Do you barrel roll, though?
Yeah. No, this time, I don't know. I do a cartwheel when I land with old Bessie in both my hands. And then when I'm back on my feet, I just kind of casually walk off. I just do that.
That was very unnecessary, Viv says.
Yeah, but it looked very cool, though.
Keg is warming on me.
What's cool about this game and the time travel ability is when I ran this before, we spent an hour having a dogfight in the air at that scene, and you guys were like, yeah, I just teleport to after the plane has crashed. That's awesome. You guys arrive back at the Time Citadel and are met by your handler, Hypatia, a Greek mathematician and astronomer from 4th century Egypt, who says, hey, great job, Timewatch. Whatever that chronal instability we were sensing from 1942 is gone now, so I assume you took care of the problem.
Yes, we took care of a time Nazi.
Oh, well, I should have guessed that with it being 1942. Oh, Nazis.
I look at my companions, trying to read if this is a situation where we should say more information or less information.
So Dr. Breen will give the immediate debrief of the Nazi in question downed our plane, and then we got the jump on him, and we have identified this strange affliction that he was suffering from prior to his death by airplane wing. Also, he was carrying this laser pistol.
Oh, excellent. And Hypatia starts entering the data into a future iPad, and they take the laser pistol for study and assessment as well. Some like scientist dudes come in and take whatever you recovered. And he says, "Hey, where's Jimmy?"
I have some unfortunate news about Jimmy.
Wait, who's Jimmy?
Quiet, you. This is a somber moment.
Mace is making a big show of cleaning old Bessie. And while he's doing that, I'll let our handlers know. I suspect that we will see this gentleman again in the future. He seemed to know our faces and names.
And he spoke a lot of having attempted to take the five of us, well, 4 of us now, the 5 of us out previously. So I concur with Mace. We will almost certainly see some earlier version of this Time Nazi sooner than later, I suspect.
Well, that's some excellent structural analysis by you, team. In any case, we have another mission for you. We have identified one of the great heroes of history who is a perfect candidate, we think, for joining the Timewatch. And we wanted to send you out to recover her to join the agency. Her name is Amelia Earhart. She was
human again.
Indeed. I'm sorry, Skeg. We did just recruit a giant, intelligent gorilla from the future, which you might be interested in. But that's neither here nor there, nor then.
An intelligent gorilla. That sounds fun.
The Amelia Earhart is a 40-year-old aviator who disappeared from history sometime in 1937 when she was attempting to fly across the ocean. Because her body was never recovered and no one knows exactly what happened to her, we can find her and recruit her into the Timewatch without causing any paradoxes in history. And we think her boldness and ingenuity would be a welcome addition to the agency. So you, team, are tasked with finding and recruiting Amelia Earhart into Timewatch. You'll also need to use your own judgment to decide whether her aviator, Fred Noonian, who disappeared alongside with her during her expedition, would be a good Timewatch agent as well, and if he should be recruited as well.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like he's starting with 1 strike against him. But sure,
what an astute observation, Doctor.
We can kick the tires on this.
Our understanding is that she landed on the island of Nikumaroro, an uninhabited island, sometime after crashing in July 1937, and survived on that island for a few months until dying in September 1937. So we would send you there just before her death to reduce the amount of possible paradoxes to recruit Amelia. And he pulls out a device with like a meter at the top of it and says, "This is a paradoxometer. Do not bring Amelia Earhart back to the Citadel until the paradoxometer reaches 0. And it's currently got a little arrow that's pointing to 100%. I do not know what paradox is preventing us from recruiting her without causing damage to the time stream, but I hope you can resolve the condition."
Well, I would like to say that all of the humans and dinosaurs here need to do the human thing and rest between missions. Is it imperative that we do this immediately?
I can't see why it would be.
That's the nice thing about time travel.
I'll,
You can kind of start whenever you like.
I'll rest in the
Great.
time stream.
All humans should proceed to their rest rooms, the rooms where they rest.
Actually, I do urge some speed because the paradoxometer is reading very high, and we don't know what damage that's causing to the time stream. But you do have time to rest.
But humans need to rest. Yes, that's correct. I'm correct, right? Humans need rest.
Yes, humans need what?
Yes, me also a human needs rest.
Note
Goodbye.
to self, Vid is saying weird things about humans again.
And he begins preparing funeral arrangements for Jimmy.
Oh.
Oh.
He's a good man. He was a good. As humans go, he was pretty okay.
Note to self, everybody seems very upset about the pilot dying. Still not sure who he was.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
just so you know, another neat thing about Timewatch, as you're doing your investigation, you guys have portable encyclopedias with you. So if you ever want to, in real life, Google something or search something on Wikipedia to gain information about it, like the island you're going to or Amelia Earhart or anything like that, you can do that both in and out of character.
Oh, cool.
And-
Viv immediately starts looking up things in the encyclopedia about how resting works.
Yeah, there's a lot of scholarly articles debating about what sleep actually does.
It is not a useful search. She
You're
comes
true.
up with no answers about how sleeping works.
If you're truly curious about this, I've actually done extensive research on the effects of time travel on the human circadian rhythm. I'd be happy to refer you to a number of papers that I've authored on the subject.
Oh, thank you, doctor. That is very helpful. I do know how to sleep, but I would like to learn more about sleep, and it's called sleep, right? That's what it's called, right?
It's not the scientific term, but I won't bore you with the details.
Great. I'd love to read those papers.
So I assume you guys sleep or whatever?
Viv just lays there with her eyes closed, and tries to mimic what breathing looks like.
And I'll say you guys can recover either 1 point in any of the investigation abilities, or 4 points in general abilities, or 2 points in chronal stability or health, wherever you want to, whichever
Alright.
of those you want to recover.
I'm gonna need that chronal stability back. How many points can I take again?
2.
2. So I'm down to negative. Well, do I start at 0 or do I start at 6 on chronal stability?
So it's depends on your character sheet, wherever the black circles go to.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm at
And,
5 chronal stabilities.
Cool.
I'm going to recover my medical expertise because I feel like that's really paying off given that we're having very strange conversations about humans again.
I am recovering my athletics because I'm a dinosaur and I like running at things.
Yeah.
I took back my 2 points of chronal stability.
Sounds great. And when you guys are ready after your rest, you can all make a time travel test to travel to where the Citadel's instructed you to go, if that's where you want to go. September 1937, the island of Nikumaroro.
How do you spell that?
It's Nikumaroro.
Nice.
Also known as Gardner Island,
Oh,
one of
Gardner
the Phoenix
Island.
Islands.
Yeah.
Easier. Can I give a stitch to Vid because I'm enjoying her human roleplay?
Yeah, you can do that whenever you want to.
Yay.
And I'm keeping track of when you guys
Do it.
them to each other. And you can
Thank you.
spend that to auto pass the travel test if you want, Kat, or
I
you
rolled
can
a
keep
4. I rolled a 4. I passed it for the
Oh,
first time.
right, we've
I'm
gotta do
very
it there.
proud.
it. Awesome.
I rolled another
6.
5.
I also rolled a 5.
Cool. So you
Nice.
all pass, and I assume you're going where I said instead of somewhere else?
Yes.
You arrive on the island. It is a I don't know if you Googled it, but it's kind of a big or a little oval with a inlet, so the center of it is filled with ocean. It's kind of like a donut island. It's pretty cool looking. You arrive on one edge of it, and you do see an old aviator's plane from the 1930s sitting there.
Hey, this looks like a new aviator's plane from the 1930s.
Yeah, it looks brand new.
I see. Well, I guess the first thing to do is look around for signs of humans being here.
Ooh,
besides
I'm
the
gonna look
plane.
for tracks.
You find.
I point to the plane.
So you find there is like sand and stuff. You don't see any recent tracks in it.
Oh,
Oh, boy.
Oh, ooh. Oh my god, a bird just ate Viv.
yep. My Skype just closed.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. Cool. So there are.
Time travel. That's time travel.
You don't find any recent tracks in the sand. You do find 2 corpses. Bum bum bum.
What?
Yeah, they were supposed to be alive, or you thought they were.
Are they a man and a woman?
They are.
Do we recognize them?
I mean, not personally, but
I Google or what is it actually called? Not Google. Google. I Google a picture of Amelia Earhart to see if this is her.
it's her.
Ah, darn.
And it's Fred Noonian too, if you look that up.
Oh no!
Ah,
Now,
I care less about him.
just to be certain, if we're looking for paradoxes, there's something that I would like to look up. I'd like to investigate the island for.
Yeah.
I happen to know, due to my knowledge of Gardner Island, that during a storm on November 29, 1929, the SS Norwich City, a large unjailing British freighter, crashed and was trapped there for over 70 years. So I want to make sure that this boat is still where we think it is. Which is the thing that I know that I did not look up in my encyclopedia.
Yeah. If you look for that boat, you actually find the wreckage of it.
Okay. Well, everyone, good news. The boat and the wreckage of the boat is where it's supposed to be.
Let's see.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's
Note to
Wikipedia.
self, as usual, surrounded by idiots. I will commence my medical investigation of the corpses to determine cause of death, though I suspect I will find laser burns from one Nazi laser pistol.
Cool. So you examine their bodies. First of all, you can tell they've been dead for like months. Insects and like birds have been picking at them, and you were told they probably died by starvation or the environment, but you can actually tell by your medical investigation that they have bullet holes in them that look like they came from a high-powered sniper rifle.
Ooh, a sniper rifle.
Hunter, this is your area of expertise.
Is there anything I can tell by like how the bodies have fallen and where the holes are to see where the bullets might have come from?
Yeah, use a point of notice.
Yeah, I do that.
Cool. So you can tell a couple things. One is that the bullets should be in them, but they aren't. It's like someone took the time to remove the bullets. And you can guess pretty accurately, pretty far down the island where these shots came from as well. There's also there's some glass bottles and stuff around them that look like maybe someone had been using them to boil water to survive in this area or something like that.
I share that information. Yeah. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Note to self, working theory, 2 shooters on the grassy knoll.
Take a stitch for that.
Thank you.
So I feel that we have a couple options. The shooter came from all the way over there. Perhaps we should time travel back in time to when these people were alive and see if we can find the shooter in that area.
I'd say that not only is what we is not. I'd say that is not only what we could do, is what we should do, because I mean we're here to stop a paradox, and if she is dead when she is supposed to be trying to survive, that seems like a pretty big paradox to me.
Perhaps we should go back to slightly before they crash so that we can intercede immediately.
How long are we after they crashed? Right now?
About 3 months.
And you said that it looks like they've been dead for about how long?
Few months.
So, okay, so they were killed right after they crashed, logically. So, yeah, let's go back to right before they crash.
Cool. Tell me when that is.
Do we need to make is this a gameplay mechanic, or do I need to space Google this?
Well, it was, I think we traveled to September.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, you know that.
So go back to July 1937?
Yeah, what date in July?
Hold on.
Sorry, I apologize for the specificity, but...
Hold on.
Excuse me while I Google.
Let's do July 2nd, 19...
Holy crap. All right, do you guys do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Roll time travel checks.
That is a 3.
That's a 6.
4.
A 5.
Jeff, take a point of chronal damage.
Ugh.
You all show up to July 2nd, 1937, the day that Amelia Earhart crashed. Holy moly. Yeah, you appear in the same location. Or do you appear in the same location? What are you trying to do?
I think we should actually appear, one, a safe distance away so that we don't get crashed into. But 2, I think we should appear approximately where we anticipate the shooter was.
I agree.
Or maybe like a few meters beyond that so that we can get the jump on them.
Awesome. Yeah.
Wait,
Note to self, I'm now handling our battle tactics.
Vegas, what does the shooter, like the location of the shooter, look like? What's around us?
So if you check out before you time jump, if you check out the location where Mace Hunter thought the bullets came from, there's like a few trees and there's some cigarette butts hanging out underneath the trees.
So he was
That
likely
shouldn't be there.
in the tree. So when we get to the past, Viv would like to turn into a tree branch in that tree.
Okay.
She just climbs up the tree and just disappears. That's kind of how everybody else sees it, but she does turn.
Cool. So let's put a pin in that for just a second. When you guys, after you complete your time travel, and we agreed you're trying to appear close to, but not exactly where the shooters were.
I was going to propose that we split up, but then realized that we are a hyper-intelligent dinosaur, a big game hunter, and Dr. Breen, who I don't trust around people. So it's perhaps best if we just let Amelia and Fred crash, and we sort of take care of the rest.
So you see, when you appear, if you look over where the Amelia Earhart crash was, that's not there yet. If you look over where this ship crash that Jeff brought up was, that's been there and nothing has changed with it. But you also see something that wasn't there before. It's like a seaplane from the 1960s, and it's sitting off the coast of the island, near that stand of trees that you guys were looking at before, and you see there's 2 Nazi soldiers talking to some commander right out front of that seaplane, and there's 2 other soldiers who are walking towards that stand of trees, and they're both carrying sniper rifles, and one of them is smoking.
I'm going to stick with my plan to climb up and become the tree.
Gotcha. So do you want to do a kind of stealth to get to the tree before they do and turn into a branch? Yeah, roll something like that for me.
Let's do unobtrusiveness, and I'm going to take 2 points.
Okay.
Oh, well, I didn't need to. I rolled a 6.
Nice. That's amazing. So you sneakily move over to the tree and do exactly what you said, becoming a big branch, I guess.
Just like normal humans do, you know.
I think I'm gonna...
Oh.
Go ahead.
So hear me out. Dr. Breen, you are a woman of many talents, a very inventive woman. You have this device, this a tractor beam it is. What if we redirect Amelia Earhart's plane towards this other plane and crash it into that?
Mace,
Go on.
you have said many, many foolish things over the short years that we've been working together, but none have been so brilliant as that. I cannot see a single way that this plan can fail, Mace. In fact, Mace, I think this might be your magnum opus. I will do this for you. I will make this happen.
I hate to be the lone dissenter here, but have we considered that if the plane crashes into another plane, that is 2 planes worth of fuel that will go up, and it is far more likely that not only will we kill Amelia Earhart on impact, but then we'll not be able to recruit her later, which is why we're here to begin with. Behold my power.
I feel like this is the paradoxometer freaking out.
No, I don't. Is it me? What do I need to do? That's not good.
Can you leave the call, reconnect? So we're getting to the bottom. Leave the call, reconnect your mic, and then rejoin the call.
Will do.
Thanks.
Rudy just spent a point of podcast technology to deduce that.
Sorry to all the watchers and listeners won't hear this, but sorry to the viewers. I know. We're just making sure everybody's awake and paying attention. That's all.
Hopefully people on Twitch aren't using earbuds like we are.
Yeah, it was a sonically unpleasant situation.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can.
It was just, it seemed like every 10 minutes or so there would be this sort of audio screechy feedback that was very unpleasant. So we'll let you know if it happens again.
And then exile me from the island.
No.
When you talk about different ways Amelia Earhart could die, the little paradoxometer just kind of wiggles at the end near the 100 point. It's really... like it tries to get off the 100 but keeps going back to it.
Sophosaurs have no sense of style.
You say that, and yet I don't see why we can't just kill these Nazis now with our hands or our psychic abilities and our large elephant guns.
Have you stopped to consider why these Nazis have brought a plane and not just time traveled immediately to their location as we did? Perhaps
Kat,
that plane is important to them.
Mm-hmm.
As they're discussing this, a Nazi climbs up and sits on you.
My trap has worked perfectly.
He's like smokes. He like puts out a cigarette on you and like lights another one.
Do I take damage from that?
No, just emotional damage.
There's some. That's something I'll deal with later. Okay. I would like. At this point, I'm gonna just stay where I am and continue to be a branch, but I'm readying. I'm readying to disrupt
Turn into a broken branch.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wanna wait and see if I hear anything useful from these soldiers.
Yeah, they're talking to each other and they're like, I have no idea why Herr Todt needs us to kill this woman on a deserted island. But I mean, it's the soldier's life. Killing people that people tell you to kill.
Wow, believable soldier dialogue. These are normal humans. Do we see any sign of Amelia's plane coming in hot?
At this time, in the distance, you do see the plane approaching.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can continue like planning, but the plane is going to come in pretty quick.
I'm going to quickly tinker with my tractor ray to try and boost its power enough that it can probably not actually fully control the plane and where it crashes, but at least ensure that it crashes softly enough that they survive.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Can spend a couple points of tinker to like buff your tractor ray for that.
Okay.
Or make a roll rather. In tinkering.
Right. So I will just spend 2 points to make sure that I succeed, right? Because it's 3 points. I'll spend 3 points.
Okay, perfect.
And I rolled a 6.
Yeah.
Guys, note to self, I may have made the tractor ray too strong.
That's awesome.
Dr. Breen is expressing worry, and that is the scariest thing that I have ever heard in my life.
So Breen's doing that. Viv is being a tree. What is Mace Hunter doing?
Mace Hunter is really upset with Skeg about messing up my tractor beam plan. And you've lost all of your bonus points with me.
Okay.
But I'm going to maybe stealth around the bushes. Did you say there were 2 snipers?
Yeah, there's 2 snipers by the tree. There's 2 Nazi soldiers next to the seaplane, along with a middle-aged guy who appears to be their commander.
All right. Well, I will say that Vid is odd, but she has the gaze of a killer. We could perhaps trust her with the snipers if we need people to take care of the others on the shore.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Cool. And you're trying to sneak into position to do that?
Yeah, I guess I'll get as close to them, like maybe still hiding in the trees. And I'm going to get old Bessie out. And I'm just going to like have a shot ready if they look like they're going to run towards Amelia.
Cool. Could you roll a check to get into position without being seen?
Yes. Is that unobtrusiveness?
You could use unobtrusiveness, yeah.
Okay, I will use 2 points. I got a 5.
Awesome, you do it. What is Skeg doing?
Skeg is going to sit in some bushes very calmly, making sure that he hasn't been noticed yet. So he's just gonna sit. He's gonna put 2 long raptor fingers, but like on the notch, like where his nose starts to run down his raptor face, and just sit. His eyes are gonna start to go white as he focuses real hard on these Nazis. As he prepares, he's not going to psychically blast them with his mind blast yet, but he's ready to do so if they start to move.
Skeg, which Nazis are you focusing on?
The Nazis on the shore.
Okay.
And
Mace is on one. I've got the other.
Cool. How close do you think you are to them? To use your I don't know what the distance on your psychic power is.
It says it is identical to a pacifist.
Oh,
So
so
close.
that's really close.
Okay, then I'm going to lay low and be ready to charge them. I'm gonna strike a hiding position and lay low and be ready to charge them if need be.
Awesome.
Question: are we close enough that we're able to discern any features? I guess what I'm getting at is the commander type figure, does he look familiar?
So you can't see his face super closely, but he has the same measurements as the old man that you
Average.
met.
Note to self.
I see.
We can't read anything into that. He's average.
Yeah, as are most of the other soldiers. You can also discern their race is what you would assume it to be with Nazis.
Nazi?
Yeah.
So
Fair
I'm gonna
enough.
lay low in some bushes. I would make an unobtrusiveness roll, but because I have my impersonator mesh, they haven't noticed me, and therefore I get a +3 to my unobtrusiveness roll, which means that I succeed. Or I roll a 5, so I got a 9.
All right, I'll take your word for it. As you guys get into position and set up, the plane starts coming in hot towards the island, and a lesser pilot with this plane that you can tell if you have any piloting experience appears to be out of fuel. Might have crashed by now, but this is Amelia goddamn Earhart we're talking about, and it's coming in somewhat softly towards the island.
How
Note to
there's
self.
okay.
Everyone's going to think this is Amelia's doing.
So Vegas, just to clarify, there is one Nazi on a branch that is me,
Yes.
and there's a second Nazi in another tree.
Nah, the second Nazi is just standing on the ground next to the tree.
Interesting. I would like to, instead of being I'm trying to think of exactly how I'm going to do this. So when I became a branch, I was like part of another branch, but I just sort of extended it into a larger one.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is turn back into a human and grab the Nazi
Okay.
like around and keep him up in the tree. I'll stun him. I won't kill him.
Okay.
That's what my thing is, my stun. So I guess that's an attack. How do I make an attack?
Sure. So I'm not. Are you trying to?
What I want to do is, disable the threat without him actually falling out of the tree or making any noise.
Yeah, but are you trying to do that, like by grappling him and putting your arms around him, or by using your pacifist disruptor, which probably makes like a noise?
Probably just using my very strong, very normal, strong human arms
Yeah.
that are as strong as a normal human.
Make a scuffling check.
Scuffling? Oh, I'm great at scuffling. I'm going to use 3 points of scuffling,
Okay.
and that's a 3, so that's a 6.
Cool. So you're gonna roll damage on that as well.
Okay. So is that just a 6? Do I add
Yeah,
anything?
it's a D6.
Yeah. Do I add anything to that, or is it just?
I think it's just a D6. A normal person punching is D6 -1, but since you have robot parts,
I don't know what you mean. I rolled a 6.
You should take the -1 so we believe you're just a normal person.
No, no one can see me right now, so it's fine. But I am a normal person, and I did roll a 6, and my very normal human arms are going to knock him out.
And you're not wrong. You do knock him out.
Cool. I'm just going to sort of drape him over the branch and then get into position of his sniper rifle just to like observe what's happening through the scope.
Okay, and his buddy who like is on the ground is like, okay, let's get ready. They're coming. And is not looking up in the tree.
Good.
You choose who goes next.
I am going to toss it over to Mace Hunter.
Oh. What do I observe the Nazis on the shore doing?
So they have pistols which they're holding, and they're looking at the airplane that's coming down. They're not looking over at the snipers.
Okay. Now I could shoot one of the dudes, but Dr. Breen and Skeg had made an awful show about fuel in planes exploding. So I think I'm gonna shift old Bessie a little bit and shoot at where their fuel tank would be.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, you're doing that now?
Yeah, can I do that?
Absolutely.
That's shooting, I guess.
Yeah, roll a shooting check.
All right, I am going to use 2 points of shooting for a total of 5.
Awesome. So you're definitely gonna hit the plane. Do you have any points in vehicles?
Yes.
Could you make a vehicles check just for the result of your attack to be to blow up the plane, assuming that's your goal?
Okay, I'm gonna use 1 point for a total of 4.
You hit the fuel tank of this 1960s seaplane, which suddenly explodes.
In the back of your mind, Mace, you just hear, "Told you."
Could you roll another d6?
Okay. 3.
Cool. So shrapnel from the plane lunges into the backs of 2 of the Nazis who are standing next to it, and they fall. But the commander who was standing there just turns and looks at it, and you see like a slash across his arm from some of the shrapnel from the plane, but it doesn't bring him down.
I'd like to turn the scope of the sniper rifle over to that commander. I want to get a good look at his face. It's the same guy, isn't it? It's Commander Otto.
So we'll get to that, but Lisa, you pick who goes next.
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
I guess I will pass it over to Skeg, who is next to me.
All right. I am. Well, tackling Nazis is my game. Tackling Nazis is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tackle this Nazi.
Which Nazi?
The commander, the one that is slashed up but still standing. I'm gonna burst out of the shadows hovering slightly over the ground with psychic fury, and I'm gonna give him a running raptor tackle.
Do it.
All right, I'm gonna spend 3 points for a total of 8.
Okay, yeah, you definitely hit him. And can you roll? Are you trying to damage him or just knock him down?
I was trying to knock him down so that I could pacifist him, but I guess for now just knock him down.
Okay, yeah, well you knock him down. And
right.
He looks you in the face, and it's definitely a younger version of Oscar Tote, who you met earlier today. And he goes, "Oh, raptor tackle! I will definitely remember how to dodge this in the future."
No, that explains a lot.
Who goes next?
I'm gonna let Oscar go next. That way we get a full round of people before he gets to go again.
Okay, awesome. He tries to shoot you in the stomach with his pistol. Oh no, he fails.
Aha!
Oscar. He uses so villains have special abilities, which might let them do time travel stuff or take extra attacks. So he's gonna use an extra attack now and do a quick reload and shoot you in the stomach again. This time he succeeds for 6 damage.
I assume I reduced that by 1 for armor?
Yeah.
All right.
And he will let the remaining sniper Nazi go next, who turns back towards the explosion and sees I guess he just sees you, Skeg, on top of his commander, and he's gonna try to take aim and shoot you as well.
Wait, when he sees Skeg, does he see a velociraptor or does he see
Yes.
a person? Okay.
Oh, he sees a dinosaur.
Well, I've made no effort to conceal my identity here.
He hits you as well with his
All right.
rifle and does 4 damage.
All right. All right, I am at 2 health. I'm doing all right. Not doing great, but I'm doing okay.
And he chooses to let Dr. Breen go next.
Okay, so how imminently is Amelia Earhart's plane going to crash?
So here's the thing. It actually was, like, with the skill of a great pilot, coming down very nicely. But when the explosion happened, you saw the plane just, like, jerk crazily. Like, what the hell was that?
Oh, right. That makes a lot of sense. All right. I will save her then, as I expected to have to. Note to self, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So I will use my souped up tractor beam to bring her back on course to land roughly on the beach where I last saw the plane, in the last time stream.
Awesome. Do it up.
Okay, so that's a shooting, or is that some other vehicles, or maybe?
Yeah, vehicles would make sense because you're controlling a vehicle. A shooting would make sense because you're taking aim.
Okay. I think I'll use vehicles.
Okay.
And I'll spend 2 points for that.
Awesome.
No, I'll just spend 3 and succeed. So.
Oh, even better.
And I rolled a 1, so I needed it.
Good choice. The plane comes back to its normal trajectory, and you can guide it down to land in the exact same way it had landed when you saw it earlier today.
Perfect.
Perfect indeed. Who goes next at the top of the next turn?
I feel like Skeg, you should go ahead and get your hits in.
All right, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to stare the commander in the eyes. My eyes go white and crackle with energy. I am going to spend 4 points of shooting to blast the commander with a mind blast with all of my power to a total of 9.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that definitely hits. Can you roll the damage on the mind blast?
I sure can.
And yeah.
Stun. It's a stun 5.
Okay, gotcha. So a normal person would have gone down with no problem, but this guy is tough as hell. And he like grits his teeth and stares in your raptor eyes. And man, normal people, when they look at you in the eye, there's normally terror, but this guy just has determination.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect a worthy foe. It's the same gaze I get from Mace Hunter. The look of somebody who I could take in a fight.
Who goes next?
I'm gonna throw it over to Mace Hunter.
Okay. So this guy is still up, but Skeg is tearing apart, and I know that their sniper is aimed at him as well. If I turn around, can I see the sniper?
Yeah.
Or would I have to like crash through the trees?
No, I mean you can see he's on the ground below you.
Oh, okay. Well then I'm
sorry. Yeah, you can see him when you turn around. He's on the ground.
Okay. I am going to turn, surprising him since he didn't see me, and I'm going to approach while reloading old Bessie. I'm gonna shoot him.
Yeah, and take a +1 for your surprise.
Yay.
In that roll.
5.
Okay, you hit him. Roll a d6 for damage.
1.
Cool. And it looks like you have +2 damage on your elephant gun.
Yeah. So yeah, I do. So 3 total.
Okay, so that is enough to bring the sniper down. Where were you aiming?
Oh, I wasn't really thinking about it. I guess in his arm, so he can't use the gun anymore.
Note
Cool.
to self.
His arm comes off because you're shooting him with a gun that's designed to kill elephants.
Well,
Note
he
to
can't
self.
snipe
Typical
anymore.
Mace.
I just point at Mace. I just real quickly like look up, point at Mace with one finger, like, you got this, buddy. You and me. You're my boy, Mace.
Mace, who's next?
Oh yeah. Let's see. We've got Vid in the trees above. So I'll look up and send it over to Vid.
All right, I would like to snipe the commander.
Okay. Oh, with the sniper rifle. that you
Yeah,
stole.
I got a
Yeah.
sniper rifle. I'm going to use it. I'm going to try and shoot his kneecap off.
Okay, so this is going to be a 5 instead of a 4 to roll because your friend is on top of the commander.
Fair enough.
It's a
Fair
tough
enough.
shot.
And I'm just rolling a d6. I can't get any abilities to add to this?
You have shooting? You
Yeah, I
use-
do. I do. You know, I'm going to take. I really want to succeed on this. I want to kneecap him. I'm going to take 3 shooting.
All right, roll it up.
Nice. That's a 4. So that's a 7 total. That succeeds like hell,
Sure, and roll your d6 damage.
right?
I think what that looks like is as I'm pointing, I see Vid and I flip him, and I'm kind of holding him and I'm kind of flipping him so that his kneecap is like up in the air and he's kind of upside down on his head,
Nice.
just in time for her to take the shot.
And that is 3 damage.
Oh God! You hear a crunching of bone underneath you, Skeg, along with the gunshot. And at that time, Oscar looks at you in the eyes, Skeg, and says, "The next time we meet will be one of our last." And he disappears into time.
Damn it. Really thought kneecapping him would, slow him down, but I guess time travel doesn't work that way.
Well, we know we get him eventually, so it all works out.
You do know that.
Yeah, I guess.
Cool. So there are 3 dead Nazi soldiers and 1 knocked out one, and Amelia Earhart's plane landing on the island. And you guys can get out of initiative.
Cool. Should we keep the Nazi knocked out or should we wake him up? Should we take him back to headquarters with us? I feel like we should question this Nazi, is what I'm saying.
We should.
Should we question him here or should we question him at Timewatch HQ?
So I don't think this Nazi is in on the whole Time Watch thing, right? I think this is just your regular run-of-the-mill Nazi. And
Does
if
his
we get
uniform have the symbol of the Nazi time order?
It does. No, I would say he looks like a regular Nazi.
Then I concur with Dr. Breen.
Can I check the inside left lapel of his uniform? I want to know his name and his measurements.
That is where any good soldier keeps their name and measurements.
Yes, his name is Johann Adelgar,
Cool. Johann Adelgar?
and his measurements are slightly taller and thinner than average.
All right, slightly taller and thinner. Okay, I'm writing this down.
note to self, Johann Adelgar is gonna have a bad day.
So where do we
Yeah.
land? Are we taking him back or are we keeping him here?
I would like to just fling him out to sea with my tractor beam because I'm not quite sure what it would do to a human.
I'm also very okay. I know that I was a bit of a wet blanket earlier, and I'd like to apologize for that. Shooting the fuel tank was very cool, but this throwing a Nazi with a tractor beam into the sea option, I would like it noted. Big fan, big proponent, big fan.
I also support this plan. And I think it just shows how brilliant in every way you are, Leah. I'm sorry, Doctor.
Dr. Breen.
Dr. Breen.
I also would like to see what happens when a human is thrown into water. They don't short circuit, I believe, but I'd like to confirm that. However, he might know one or two things, so maybe we should question him and then throw him into the water and see if he short circuits or not.
Well, that's 3.5 to 1/2. So I think the yeas carry. We're throwing him.
I would also like to propose that we search their plane for eggs that would be delicious to eat on, as I believe that we can raid their nest for delicious eggs.
Huh.
Just me. That's fine. I just wanted to put it out there. Didn't know how hungry everybody was, but
Viv is gonna lean over to Dr. Breen and go, "Do humans lay eggs?"
Note to self. Suspecting Vid may not be human.
I mean, of course humans lay eggs. Everybody knows that.
keep talking about these eggs.
I'm gonna just reload old Bessie.
So, in the interest of not leaving the good Miss Earhart with no attention here, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get this experiment underway, if everybody's okay with it. And I'm going to launch this Nazi.
Okay.
Cool. When you use the experimental reverse tractor beam, he flings into the sky as if he were catapulted and then lands in the ocean.
I'm realizing now that this may have seemed strange to Miss Earhart.
I'm realizing now that humans don't short circuit, and I am taking a mental note of that.
I'm sure she's
everybody?
concussed.
Check the plane. No eggs. Did not find eggs. They must have had their nest somewhere else on the island. There might still be a Nazi nest. Be on alert.
Note to self: Velociraptors can swim. Interesting.
In the distance, Amelia Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonian climb out of their airplane. Well, this is a fine how do you do, Fred?
Should we approach as a group? I say, looking directly at Skeg.
Good call. I'll approach them on my own. And I move towards Amelia Earhart on my own. Adjusting my lapel, covering up my bullet holes, using my giant raptor tongue and kind of just like rubbing my bullet wounds like, ah. And I'd like to approach them and use a point of authority to say, hello, my name is Skeg, and I am with the United States military.
What in tarnation? Fred, you navigated us into the Savage Lands.
It's okay. I'm with the military.
You must be one of those crazy World War I experiments. And Fred's
Sure am.
Fred is terrified. He cowers.
I mean, should any of us go in there, or should we just let Skeg handle this? I mean, Skeg seems to have a very firm grasp on the situation and how to talk to humans.
I think we might want to intervene at this point. Note to self: do not allow Skeg to carry out diplomatic relations unassisted in the future.
I will go up as well.
Okay.
Or in the past.
I'd like to give a stitch to Dr. Breen because I love these notes. I love these self notes.
Stitch noted. Okay, so you walk up as well, and Amelia's like, you don't look like any U.S. military I ever heard of, but I'm glad to find somebody here. I thought we would starve to death in 3 months or so.
Funny story.
Yeah, that definitely sounds about right.
I am going to approach. I'm going to take my hunter's hat off as a gentleman would, and I will put my hand out to shake her hand and to say, "My name is Mace Hunter. That was brilliant flying."
Take a stitch for being a gentleman.
And she shakes
Dr.
your
Breen
hand.
scoffs a little again.
She shakes your hand too, and she says, "Thank you. I'm Amelia Earhart. You'd have heard of me if you read the New York Times or the Globe and Mail."
Those are very real sounding newspapers. I've never heard of a New York Times.
I did read those things, and I saw your picture. You are even more beautiful in person.
Oh, shucks. You really know how to make a lady judge herself by her appearance instead of her groundbreaking achievements.
Thank you.
Fred goes, "Oh, sorry, there was a storm and we had to navigate."
Shut up, Fred. Shut up.
Oh, Fred.
Oh, Fred.
I'm
I
sorry
feel
for
bad
snapping.
Fred.
I'm sorry for snapping, Fred. I've been shot several times.
What? Are we at war?
Should I not have said that? Was that on me? That was on me. My bad.
Who is it? The Spanish?
Fred, can I ask you about? Do you have any eggs on your plane? What's your egg situation?
Yeah, we got eggs.
Fred,
Hard boiled.
I'd like to apologize for what I said. I think you and I are going to be the closest to friends.
And she says, "Well, you said you're with the military. You got a way to radio back to the mainland. So couldn't have picked a better island to land on, I guess, you weird lizard man."
Can I check my paradoxometer?
Yeah.
How does
Yeah,
it work?
it's gone down like 33% after you killed all those Nazis.
Okay, but it's still at like 60%.
Yeah.
Note to
Well,
self: killing Nazis, effective at reducing paradoxes.
Well, where's the rest of the paradox coming from?
Couldn't be the dinosaur.
Wait,
No.
let's Skeg.
Dinosaur. Get it
Skeg,
right.
take a few steps back.
Okay.
Does the paradoxometer react?
No.
Oh. All right. Now let's get back to this egg. Let's get back to this egg drama.
So we probably couldn't just time hop 3 months into the future to when they're almost starving and then take them. I mean, it probably makes more sense to just take them now, since they've already revealed ourselves to them.
So your instructions were to not bring her back to the Citadel until the paradoxes are resolved, because that could damage the Citadel.
Well, can we take her somewhere else?
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, it could be that we're here too early and we do have to come back.
Oh
But-
no, it's the plane, right?
Are you guys talking about this in front of her?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Vegas, under what circumstances would you think this team of people could be subtle?
Okay.
Well, I would like to, in my defense, I'm on a plane with Fred eating eggs.
She says, "Wait, are you talking about time travel? I've read H.G. Wells."
So you're familiar and well read.
I'm familiar, well-read, extremely brave, and ready for new challenges and adventures. That's me, Amelia Earhart.
Note to self: this seems almost too easy.
Well, gotta move things along. That's what I always say. Amelia Earhart.
Okay.
Classic Amelia Earhart.
Well, then I hope it will not startle you, young lady, that we are indeed speaking of time travel.
Cool. She
Cool.
She is not startled. Well, she's startled in the way that you would expect a person to be on some level. It's not like she's like, "Oh yeah, that's normal." But she also isn't like traumatized. She's like, "That's amazing."
She's Amelia Earhart. She's done enough amazing things that I'm pretty sure if you told her time travel was a thing, she'd go, "Let's do it."
And she does say that, and Fred's like, "Time travel? What?"
Yeah, I would like to size up Fred from his general reaction, general level of attractiveness, suitability as a mate, or at least as an agent.
Fred is my friend, and we are taking him.
What kind of read am I getting on old Fred?
So he's got a hard face. He's looks like he's about 44. And he is a thin guy, but he looks confused by this whole situation.
More or less confused than Mace looks on a day-to-day basis.
More confused than Mace on average.
Note to self, not bright enough.
I see Dr. Breen checking out Fred, and I abruptly start ignoring Amelia and go over to check out that situation.
He's like, well, am I dead? I'm dead, aren't I?
Oh, dear, Fred. Oh, boy. Yes, actually, most likely that's how this ends for you. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, Fred.
Oh, no. I'd like to go check out the other plane. Viv is not great at interacting with other humans, so the Nazi plane. Yeah,
it's primarily blown up.
Right, but is the paradoxometer more paradoxy the closer I get to it?
No.
Or is that not how this thing works? It's not like a Geiger counter for paradoxes.
It's not like a Geiger counter for paradoxes, but you can spend, if someone has like an investigative ability related to time, I could use
I have
that.
paradox prevention.
Or timecraft?
Yeah.
Cool, then I'll use the point of timecraft.
Cool. So you start analyzing the situation. You're pretty sure the debris from the seaplane is going to wash away normally. It's a long time before anyone discovers this island. So you don't think anything that's happening on the island itself has anything to do with this paradox.
Can I spend a point of paradox prevention to study the situation and figure out what here is amiss as the person who has been reading up on the situation on definitely not Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Sure. So nothing is amiss given you feel like you should be able to just recruit her and take her back to the Citadel given the circumstances so far. But she is like, do you tell her what you're trying to do? Like,
Sure.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not part of this talking to her, so I guess it's not my choice.
Well, I overhear Dr. Breen and her observations on Fred. I'm no longer worried. So I will go back to Amelia and say, how would you like to time travel, Miss Earhart?
And be a time cop?
That's odd that you've taken it in that direction, but yes, exactly that. You are so bright.
Well, if I was supposed to die on this island, then joining your weird time-traveling band seems like the great next adventure for Amelia Earhart. What? And she looks at her hands, and they're starting to fade in and out of existence. And it's kind of like Marty McFly's siblings in the photos in Back to the Future. And you guys know that that is something that happens when something in the past is preventing them from being there or even existing.
Miss Earhart, I think we're going to have to leave you for a brief moment, and we'll meet you again soon, but a while ago. See you last Tuesday.
Cool.
Does she fade away?
She's still there, but like she's coming in and out of reality.
Yeah. So Dr. Breen, I think understands this as like the Nazis have changed their attack on her from no longer the point where she had crashed, but some prior point where they're attempting to kill her now, right?
Yeah, that's a great guess.
Okay.
Can I, if I check Time Google, is there a way to see if anything in her timeline is different?
Yeah, you can check. So your encyclopedia tells you the way things are supposed to be, and there isn't any like internet you can check in the 1930s to look at right here.
I see. Cool. So if we want to figure out what is going on, is there any way we can track where that last Nazi went? The Nazi commander? Otto?
I don't think there's a way you can track where he went under the curtains.
When he went?
Can we track when he went?
Yeah, I don't think you can do that given the current circumstances. But if you, since you used that point of, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I still have my science ability to produce high-tech inventions that I actually assembled earlier. And I'm feeling like I have a time distortion wave tracker that helps me track people as they move through time.
How incredibly convenient.
Okay, gotcha. So he actually went off into the future. And it looks like you can track his pattern kind of where he's going. It doesn't appear that he was going personally to go do like an attack on her because he was going off into the future somewhere.
Well, I explained that readout. Note to self, it appears that we've scared this Nazi off, but perhaps the young Miss Earhart is still in danger.
So, given the timecraft and paradox prevention points that you've spent in investigation, which, give you clues, I'll say there's a standard list of questions that Timewatch detectives ask people who are involved in time. And if you ask Amelia Earhart those questions, it's like, did you see anything unusual? What do you know about this? To look for paradoxes. And she cannot remember who her parents are when you ask her that question.
Damn it. Now we got to go find... Did the Nazi seduce her parents?
Or perhaps we can find the date of her birth, the date and place.
July 24th, 1987.
That cannot possibly be true.
1897. Correct. Hey, look. I'm doing all right with human numbers for a dinosaur, okay? I'm doing my best.
For a guy with 4 claws, or only 8 claws on 2 hands, it's kind of hard to use base 10.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Okay. Well, should we travel back to her birth, or should we see if... I don't know. Should we travel forward in time to the internet and see what's different about Amelia Earhart and then travel back?
Hmm.
Oh no.
Yep, sorry about that. Yeah, you can travel into the future if you want to look at the internet. It'll cost you time travel checks.
If we do that, I think one of us should go. Because then...
Ideally not me, because everybody else has stitches and therefore can just jump back and forth.
You can just...
Oh, yeah. I have stitches. I can do that. I'll just stitch forward and back. I'll spend 2 stitches.
Cool.
Oh, I'd also... Can I give a stitch to Skeg for his egg hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm taking 2 stitches away for the ones that you spent. So there's still a bunch in the pile if you guys want to give them to each other for anything.
Yeah, I would like to give a stitch to Mace for continuing to toy with my emotions, even though I really only want Mace for his physical uses.
Strange way of saying that, but okay. Dr. Breen, what year do you go to?
I'm going to go to a year when the internet was still useful but had not been destroyed by Russian bots. So how does 2015 sound?
It sounds great. There's this great new band, 21 Pilots, on the radio. Barack Obama is the president, and there is no Amelia Earhart in Wikipedia.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Right.
Oh, can you look up her parents? Like, are there any entries on who her parents were?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Not in Wikipedia.
Right.
Because they are not notable
totally makes
people.
sense. Okay, but I am actually competent in hacking. So maybe I will be creating the Russian bot farms myself as I do this to crawl the internet for records of the people who should be Amelia Earhart's parents. Just give me 1 second here, and I will tell you exactly who they are. Oh man, I really should have brought my friend Skeg around because he knew all this off the top of his head.
These are good eggs.
Amy Otis and Edward Stanton Earhart of Atchison, Kansas.
Cool. So you look up the federal records for that time period.
I hack the federal records.
You hack the records for that time period. Record keeping isn't great for them, but between like Ancestry.com and stuff like that, you can figure out that those people both existed and lived normal lives, but there's no Amelia Otis Earhart. There's an Amelia Otis who later becomes Amelia Otis Tote.
Gasp.
And there is a Samuel Stanton Earhart who never marries.
See.
Oh.
Well,
All right. Well, I have note to self. Tote is a competent seductioner. He may have uses to me after all. Not sure how I feel about sleeping with Nazis, though. I'm not used to this much introspection. Back to the time stream, and I'll stitch my way back.
Cool, and Breen shows up back where the rest of you are.
Well,
Yeah, so Tote has gone back to seduce Amelia and dissuade her from ever becoming the adventurous young rapscallion that she was.
Seduce me? I don't recall ever being seduced.
Oh wait,
But
she's here. Crap.
I did some seduction.
hold on. What was the date of Amelia's marriage? Because maybe we can go back to that date and crash into the wedding really dramatically. It will be a very good, very dramatic moment.
I
So-
think we want to
so
go way
just-
before then, right?
Just to be clear, Shane, when I said there's Amelia is also Amelia Earhart's mother's name.
Yeah, because she didn't remember her parents, so she wasn't born at all.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I just assumed you were looking at the same internet stuff as me.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute.
I was, and I totally missed that.
Are you saying we need to Back to the Future this, where we need to get Amelia Earhart's parents together?
I mean, you're saying that.
Indeed, I am.
Well, this is not Viv's purview of expertise. This is Kat's deep interest. Kat wants to. Kat wants to play matchmaker.
This is of no interest to Shane, but of importance to Dr. Breen.
So I'm not really sure what the big. This seems pretty easy. We just travel back. We scrape some of Amelia's father's pheromones from the glands on his neck. We sort of throw them at Amelia's mother, and then they will perform the mating ritual, right? And then they will lay the eggs, right?
I
That
will just
seems right.
look
That
at
seems
Skeg.
correct.
Okay.
Gag?
Thanks, Ben.
And actually,
Huh.
when Skeg gives a thumbs up, her thumb just sort of turns in a weird way, and then she sort of pops it right back.
Note to self. Odd thumbs on that one.
I can't be the only one seeing this.
Mace is going to just go over to Dr. Breen and say, "You were gone but a moment, but our group missed you greatly. You are a woman of many thoughts and observations. I am a man of action. Some say that opposites attract." And then he'll just sort of laugh casually.
Viv is going to lean over to Skag and say, "Are those the pheromones happening right now?
I think those are the pheromones. I'm pretty sure.
Should we scrape them?"
I believe what's gonna happen now is I believe Dr. Breen is gonna open the gills on her neck and screech.
Interesting.
Here we go. Here comes the screech.
So having not heard that, Dr. Breen, having gotten the attention that she wanted, gives a wry smile to Mace and a wink and says, "We really must be moving on in the time stream if we are to make sure that Amelia here is to join our forces."
All business, of course.
So when are we going to now, gang?
Yes. When? And where?
We're going to
did
Atchison, Kansas. I got that much.
Were there any records of Tote and Mother Amelia and when their marriage was?
I mean, there must have been, right? That's how I knew it.
Yeah. You can see that Tote and so her nickname is Amy. Tote and Amy were married in 1895, and then they later have a daughter named Greta in 1897.
Terrible name. Amelia's a much better name. No offense to anybody named Greta out there. Like, I'm sure you're an amazing person, but
all the Gretas are tuning out.
Well, sorry, Greta. And Greta, and also Greta.
I'm going to give you one more game mechanic bit, which I should have given you when you met this Tote. He blinked out of time before you had the chance to kill him, but it would cause a major paradox if you killed him, since you've already met an older version of him. And since you've met him twice now, if you kill him back in this time, it would cause, like, crazy paradox.
I say we crash a wedding.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we know what her father did for a living?
He, the record you found said he was a lawyer. A failed lawyer.
Wait, because according to MySpace Wikipedia, he's a former federal judge. So if he's a failed lawyer in this timeline, that means that Tote must have sabotaged his law career. So I don't know if that's anything.
Wait a minute. When we first saw his body, didn't he have a Kansas driver's license?
He sure did.
He did.
He did. Okay. Well, I guess.
Does anybody remember that address?
Do I have
So
photographic robot memory? So I do remember that?
Yeah, you remember that license was from the future and also appeared falsified. Though it was from Kansas and had his name on it.
But what was the address on it?
4 Pine Street.
Atchison. Was it in Atchison, Kansas?
Sure.
Okay, well, that's logically... I mean, if you're going to put a fake address on a fake ID, you're going to use one from an alternate timeline's version of you, right? That seems logical, right?
I've done that
like
before.
Basic tradecraft.
Yeah. So maybe we should go to this address and see what we can find. I mean, we'll at least be in the right town. In this year, humans lived in small settlements, correct? They did not live in nuclear wastelands in the 30s, right?
Correct.
That sounds right.
Cool. So all of us humans will be fine.
Should we prepare for volcanic gas? Is this a volcanic gas time?
No, not a volcanic gas time. Nor is it a large meteor time. Nor is it an ice age.
Excellent. So all humans and dinosaurs. I'm sorry, Skag. I have been leaving you out of my assessments. All humans and dinosaurs will be just fine. Let's go.
I have one last question.
Sure.
Are there birds?
Cool. So let's all make time travel tests.
I'm gonna stitch my way through that.
I'm also gonna stitch.
I'm gonna roll. 5.
5.
Sweet. So you all get there with no problem, and you were trying to go to the 1895?
Yeah, to their like wedding.
Yeah.
Time.
To the day of their wedding, or?
Let's go a couple days before the wedding.
Wait, this is okay. So back in this time, they used to do like the stag party was like the night before the wedding, right? Because everybody had to work like 7 days a week and there was no leisure time.
That sounds right.
Right?
Sure.
Because this is like it's like mid-industrial revolution, right? And like the Dust Bowl. So like,
yeah.
Why don't we just make sure he gets super blackout at his stag party and misses the wedding?
So we'll deprogram him, is what you're saying. We will black out his memory banks.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I mean, we won't do it. Our friend Jack Daniels will do it.
Who is Agent Jack Daniels? I have not met him yet.
Agent Jack Daniels is a man from Tennessee, and he has never lost a fight.
He sounds like a formidable opponent. We should definitely enlist his help.
Cool. If that's the day you guys want to go to, I'm gonna say you do it. Gonna take a 2-minute bathroom break if that's okay.
Unacceptable.
Sorry, team.
Yes, very fun. So much fun. This game, I like the system. I am gonna, if it's okay, drop the call and come back because everyone has been frozen for me like this whole time. Neat.
I'm going to pause and go get myself a drink.
I'm just going to disappear.
I too shall disappear.
I will be here all by myself then. That's fine. Oh, Lisa, you're still here. Are you back? Do you see?
I am back. Wait, where'd
Thanks.
everyone go?
They all took a break.
Okay.
How are you? Happy birthday. How are you thinking of Timewatch?
I love Timewatch, and I love all the kooky characters. Are they included in Timewatch, or did you guys make?
So these are pre-gens. They're actually, I think they're called iconic characters. So if you read the rule book, they're constantly brought up as kind of like the example characters for like example of play. I think that Kevin Culp, the writer, might be watching this right now.
Oh.
Yes, and also I think Kat from Pelgrane Press, who published this game, also is in chat. So thank you both so much for watching. If you are seeing this, I think everybody's
love this
having
game.
a ton of fun.
Yay.
Yeah. I just love the tone of it, and you guys are just embracing that, and it's great.
I'm like typing in the chat, even though whatever. Yeah, the game is super fun.
Did you switch into a Back to the Future shirt?
No, it's actually a Lost shirt.
City Island, I love it.
It's very warm in this room, and my other shirt had swears on it, so I couldn't take my sweatshirt off.
Well, it's
so
super
appropriate
fitting
for
as
this
well,
game.
yeah.
Thank you. I was gonna put on a different one, but then I saw this and decided it needed to happen.
Oh,
Jesus!
Shane is
Oh my
here.
God,
Oh god,
ow!
Shane, stop.
So in case anyone is watching on Twitch while we are on break, I'll let you guys know that this game that we're playing right now, the adventure comes in the official Timewatch rulebook. There's 3 adventures written into the back of the book as like sample free adventures, and this is the first one in it. And if you look at the cover, there's a T-Rex fighting Timewatch cops, and the Civil War is going on in the background.
Nice. This is a very fun game. I love time travel. I've just discovered this love, but I love it.
Yeah,
I am such a time travel sucker.
I'm a big fan of this game as well. Yeah. Is everyone ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, indeed.
Disappear once again.
Cool.
Yeah, get out of here.
So let's call it July 8th, 1895, the day before the wedding of Tote and Amy Otis, according to the records that Dr. Breen found. And you are in Atchison, Kansas, a little village in the 1800s. There's some covered wagons? Yes.
Do you know anything about the Midwest?
I played Oregon Trail.
There's cities out here.
But, like, were there cars?
There wouldn't be cars, really. It would just be like a, sort of little town. People would have houses. I mean, geez.
Oh, I mean, in the road, there's wagons, like, drawn by horses.
They wouldn't be covered wagons, though.
They weren't really, like, roads. Weren't they just, like, horse paths or something? I don't know.
It depends. I don't know. I don't know that much about Atchison, Ohio, but I know enough about the Twin Cities area.
It wouldn't be an asphalt road, but by road, I mean a path that people walk on.
Yes, there would be that, but it wouldn't be covered wagons. Come on, it's not Oregon Trail.
Well, what the heck are horses pulling then?
They're just
Buggies?
normal wagons. Buggies, yeah.
How are you getting goods around?
With a normal wagon. You don't have covered wagons. I'm not going to get into this argument.
What if it rains?
Anyway, how many bars does this town have?
You tell me, Midwest.
Look, if we're going by 2018 standards, it's more than there are churches, but probably in the 1800s, like 1.
All right, there's one bar in Atchison, Kansas, and it's called the Uncovered Wagon.
All right, fair enough. A saloon is where people go to throw parties, right? So
Sure.
Maybe that is where Oscar will have his party.
Maybe it is. You hear a lot of carousing coming inside of that saloon, if that's what you look for.
Oh. Wait. Each time we've met Oscar, he seems to remember us. It sounds like he's met us many times. It is possible we will attend this party, and he will recognize us immediately.
Oh, he'll almost certainly recognize us, but we'll lure him in with his hubris. We'll challenge him, and besides, it's not like he can murder everybody in here and still marry. Like, he has to go along with this if he wants to successfully marry Amelia Earhart.
That's true.
Mother.
I suppose that's true.
Amelia Otis.
Amelia Otis.
Well, I can go in disguise. I'm very good at disguises. And I'm very good at blending in with other humans.
It would be good for Skeg
Because you are.
to go in disguise, too.
Skeg and I, the most passable humans among us.
By the way, you're all wearing what you're supposed to be wearing in this time period when you show up there.
Which is a lab coat because I am a doctor.
Big straw hat.
If you want to be wearing like more modern stuff or something out of period, you can be. But
No, I'll be dressed as like oh god, there's no female doctors in the 1890s because this is a terrible time period.
You could be a nurse.
Fine, I'll be dressed as a nurse.
Yeah.
This is the worst. This is why I have a rule that I don't travel past the 1980s.
Well, so Viv can change her face like any normal human can.
Note to
So
self.
if we need to go in incognito and scope out the situation first, I volunteer to go in.
So I should probably mention that I have that with my psychic abilities, I can just put on any face I want and people will see what they want to see. I want them to see Raptor face because I am a beautiful man. And I lock eyes with each of you for a long time. Beautiful man. Beautiful man.
Beautiful.
But I can look like a person if we want me to be in there.
There's like a bystander walking by who kind of like turns and cocks his head when you say "beautiful man" over and over again.
Hey, what are you looking at, Hayseed? Get out of here.
Man, you're walking.
Well, what do you guys think? Should Skeg and I go in incognito and see what we can find out?
Yes.
Sure. There's also, I don't know if we want to influence Amy at all. We could also try to find where she is.
Mace, you should seduce Amy. Perfect.
Well, I mean, if you insist. Okay.
It seems to be your specialty. You're always practicing with Dr. Breen.
Mace blushes.
Dr. Breen blushes as well.
You should both seduce her. You're both very good at it.
Vid, the blushing. They're gonna screech soon.
I agree that we should address the Elder Earhart and Otis together, so that we can make sure that we keep everything above board and according to regulation.
Yes, I love going on missions with Dr. Breen, and I give her a deep knowing look.
Is this when the screeching starts?
It's gotta be any second now.
Anyways, we'll keep it according to the book. By the book, that's how we always do it.
Shane's leaving and coming back. All right.
There we go.
Sorry, man, that's so weird.
Yeah, I gotta
Super
get this
strange.
sorted out.
That was the shrieking.
That was the shrieking happened. The shrieking happened.
It is really funny that you said that and it started. So are all of you going in various disguises, or just some of you?
I think that the Skeg and I will go after Otis in this. Wait, is that his name? Otis? Otto.
His name is
Oscar.
Oscar
Tote.
Oscar Tote, like the bag. Okay. So I think Skeg and I are going after Oscar, and Breen and Mace are going after Amy. I suppose a good
Perfect. Yeah.
Midwestern bride would probably be at home on the night of her wedding. She'd be at her parents' house.
She's
Sounds
probably
reasonable.
sewing her wedding dress still. Out of curtains.
That sounds like something that Dr. Breen would say, yes.
Yes, because this is a backward time.
So let's split the party, and we'll go back and forth between what the two groups are doing.
Nothing ever bad happens when you split the party. That's why this network is named after that.
Let's start with the two who are looking for Amy. And what do you do?
I suppose we should figure out where her family's home is. I hadn't thought about that she's at home, so I don't know how we get her out of there.
Throw rocks at her
Or get
window.
in there.
That's how you seduce anybody in the 1800s.
That's true. I think you make a formal request to call upon her.
All right. Well then, as we make our way to wherever her parents' home would be, I will collect some rocks.
Sweet. And
I wish I had a boombox.
I was gonna say I'll get the Peter Gabriel.
You guys can ask around town to figure out where they live and actually make it to the Otis household.
All right. Perhaps we should stealth around the house to discern which window is hers, so that I may throw this rock at it in a nice way. They're small rocks.
Throw a brick through a window.
Yeah.
Note tied to it.
I'm sure that some light vandalism will be well received by her parents.
Sure. If you walk around the household, there's one window that has like a
Glass.
little hand painted sign in it, and it's like a feminist slogan from the 1890s. And it's like, if I ever have a daughter, I'm raising her to be strong.
Oh, she's gonna love Mace. All right. This seems like it, and I will toss a rock at it.
Cool. A moment passes, and then a woman comes to the window and opens it and says, "Who's throwing rocks at my window? Me, Amelia Otis."
That's how humans talk.
Typical humans.
Are you Amy Otis? My name is Mace Hunter, and I just arrived in this town, but heard already that you were a woman of such strong resolve. And I needed to meet you.
What? You can use an interpersonal ability.
Yeah, can I do that? Can I be charming?
Sure, yeah.
Boop.
She says, "Oh, Mr. Hunter, is that a British accent I detect? Well, I appreciate the wooing, but if you wanted to woo young Miss Otis, that's me, you should have came by in 1892. That's when I met my sweetie, who I'm marrying tomorrow."
What a lucky gentleman he must be to have wooed a woman as yourself. Have you set a date? Are you to be married?
Yeah, I just said tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So, Dr. Breen...
Is Nurse Breen just like standing there?
No, Nurse Breen is slightly out of sight, but on the little future iPad Air version 37 or whatever, she's got some Emily Dickinson poems up there for you to recite to her.
I guess I'll recite a poem.
Cool. So the success here with the charm is that she finds you interesting and is interested in talking to you, though is not immediately falling in love with you.
Yeah.
You're trying to...
May I, if this is the last evening that you have, could I spend some time with you and talk with you, such an interesting woman?
Well, I really liked those modern AB style poems you just recited. So, yeah, I suppose I have nothing to do but talk. My husband, he's out getting drunk. Or future husband. Look at me, already saying husband. Meanwhile, back at the Uncovered Wagon Saloon, what are the other two doing?
All right, so Viv is first step going to turn around and just rub her face a bunch and then turn back around and it's an entirely different face. A face of a much whiter woman, because as a Punjabi woman, I would not be admitted into that bar.
Cool. So the impersonator mesh, it solves racism for Timewatch agents.
Right.
The game kind of hand waves that because it doesn't want you having to deal with it.
Yeah, I you know. But as a shape-shifting robot, I've just got a whole new face.
Gotcha. Cool.
Blonder, you know, freckles, look like a farm girl from Kansas.
Perfect.
You
And
should
I
be
look
more exotic. You should be a farm girl from Nebraska.
Oh, you're right. I turned back around and rubbed my face a little more, and now I'm a farm girl from Nebraska.
I'm okay. Skeg, what do you look like?
I am closing my eyes and muttering, my hands on my temples, and I am crackling with energy, and I am taking the form of. I'm still wearing a big straw hat because I have insisted on wearing a big straw hat.
Sure, who wouldn't?
But I am wearing overalls with no shirt, no shoes. Real farmers. What I as a hyper intelligent space dinosaur have assumed a farmer to look like.
Seems perfect.
A lot of mud.
Awesome.
Right.
Piece of hay in my mouth.
Like a beautiful man, Skag.
Cool. So when you guys go inside the saloon, there's a piano player who's like playing and singing songs from the Great American Songbook. People are passing around bottles of beer. It's like a bunch of guys who like look like big tough guys. There's a young looking man who looks like young Oscar Tote, and like an older fellow who's with him. Like everyone's real excited. A lot of people have on pins that say Grover Cleveland for president 1895.
Is that Grover Cleveland for president or Grover Cleveland for president again?
That's what the pins say. What I just said.
Viv, as she walks into the bar, announces, "Where is Agent Jack Daniels?"
Crap.
Oh yeah, never mind. They say there was no election in 1895, and when you yell, "Where is Agent Jack Daniels?" people turn and look at you confused.
My friend is not used to going to bars. We would like some of your finest whiskey. Jack Daniels whiskey, human whiskey, regular whiskey.
Jack Daniels was
Also,
your finest
do you
agent.
offer hard-boiled eggs?
The German man walks up to both of you and says, "Strangers in this town, on the day of my bachelor party, hard-boiled eggs and whiskey on me. Join the celebration."
Hooray!
Hooray! I like this guy. Oh, no. What is your name, sir?
I'm excuse me, Mr. Oscar Todt, German immigrant and man in love.
Tell me all about your love. What part of the pheromone process are you in?
I also had that question. I can't stop this from happening. Has she screeched? Has she
Made a
screeched
mistake.
yet?
So,
Why did we leave them alone?
We made a huge mistake.
do you actually say that?
Yeah, all of it.
When you say pheromone, like his eyes suddenly narrow, and he's like, what are you, chemists? Biologists?
I am a normal human who would like to meet Jack Daniels. And I grab the nearest drink and just like throw it toward my mouth, and most of it gets in there.
I grab a hard-boiled egg off a plate and just put the whole thing in my mouth. Just, oh.
So when you grab whiskey and call it Jack Daniels, he says, this is a local brew that's made here in Kansas. I don't think many of the people in this town would be familiar with Jack Daniels or pheromones. Who comes comes to celebrate Oscar Toth's wedding. And, like, there's a bunch of, like, big tough guys who are just, like, local farm guys who look extremely confused by this conversation, but they're also kind of drunk and happy, so they don't...
So, Biv looks at Skeg and looks around the bar and says, "It is our wedding as well tomorrow. We are a happy couple celebrating."
We sure are. She screeched. I did the pheromone. It was a great relationship.
It has been a wild ride, and
Eggs for everyone.
eggs for everyone. And I'm gonna go.
And the old guy who's there and was there at the bar with Oscar comes and grabs his shoulders, and he looks at both of you and he's like, strangers keeping old Mr. Otis away from the man who's gonna marry his daughter? What are you doing talking to my boy? Or my future boy? Let's all keep drinking.
I agree. As I said, it's our wedding too. We were just congratulating him on also achieving marriage.
2 weddings in one day? What a day for Atchison.
Truly, and a day for the record. A day that will be marked in the time records kept at the Citadel for. Never mind.
Do you say that?
No.
Okay, let's see what the other 2 are doing.
Walk with. Does she climb down or just come out the door?
No, she'll come outside, sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Walk with me.
Well, actually, I was gonna say before she after she goes inside, but before she comes out, I will give like an earpiece to Mace so that I can feed him lines.
Yes.
Oh boy.
And then
Is this where it went last time, Vegas? Is this how it went last time?
I will try and stay out of sight.
They definitely made it to Kansas.
Okay. I will put it in, although I'll make a point of saying I think I was doing just fine. She's quite wooed. And I'll put the earpiece in.
Cool. And she'll say, an Englishman trying to woo me on the day before my wedding to a German immigrant. Well, aren't I just the most cultured woman in all of Atchison?
Mace, not used to the earpiece, just kind of tilts his head weird.
Okay.
Compliment her.
Oh, well, yeah, you are very cultured indeed, and have excellent penmanship. I enjoyed your sign.
Oh, thank you. I know it's a bit heavy-handed, but Oscar and I have been talking about our want to have children in the near future, and I just want to make sure if I ever have a daughter that she grows up to be somebody and not someone with no control over her destiny like me, Amy Otis.
Tell me about more about Oscar.
Oh, well, he came to this town a few years ago and started working for the old clockmaker down the shop and lives in an apartment above his store. But we've been saving together and are going to buy a small house together after we have our nuptials tomorrow. I'm so excited for that day. He's handsome and smart and knows so much about the world. Man,
tell her how smart she is.
You sound smart.
I'm not sure what I've done to demonstrate that, but I don't know how many times I need to tell you I'm getting married tomorrow, but I do appreciate the company and conversation, as there is no stag party for women. Oh, maybe I could invent a stag party for women.
That sounds like such a forward-thinking idea.
Yeah, go.
Why don't we do that? We
Tell
should
her to-
do that.
Call it a hen party.
We should call it a hen party.
Because hen is a female version of a chicken, and stag is a male version of a deer. I get it.
Tell her that's the tradition in England.
I'm surprised that you're not having a hen party. That is the tradition in England, where I am from, as you can tell by my clearly demonstrated accent.
Tell her how cosmopolitan she is.
You're so cosmopolitan.
What's that?
You're a woman of the world. I see for you things beyond this town. We should celebrate.
Oh, well, I don't mind celebrating a little bit, as long as you stop that wooing and keep that friendly talk going.
I admit I do have a crush on someone else. Another woman, both beautiful and incredibly brilliant.
And
Oh,
creative.
And and creative and inventive.
And a strong leader.
Mace just kind of like taps his ear.
Well, I bet that woman would love to hear those things herself instead of you telling them to me, Mr. Hunter.
Things are complicated. As you can imagine, the way love can be.
I tell you what, why don't we walk down to the malt shop?
What? I love your company. I'm so glad people spoke so highly of you. Let's do.
Alright.
Take the path that goes down by the river. Stay away from the road.
Is there a scenic route with water?
Yeah, there's water in Kansas. Sure, let's see what the guys are doing in the saloon.
I have a plan.
Oh, great.
Oh, I also have a plan, but let's go with your plan.
All right.
I'm glad somebody does.
My goal of finishing on time is catapulted.
I am in the middle of like 3 eggs when I sit up and I turn to Vin and I go, follow my lead. Oscar, dear friend, fellow soon to be married individual, may we speak to you outside?
And he looks at both of you and says, "No. I'd rather be with my friends."
All right. That was phase 1 of my plan and it didn't go off.
Well, then, if you would like to be here with your friends, perhaps we will do an activity that is very traditional for a stag party and have a contest of drinking.
Drinking contest.
And when you say that, his friends are like, "Drinking contest!"
You
Yes,
shall drink all of the beers and eat all of the eggs.
yes, it will be you versus me. Groom to groom.
Yeah, it sounds correct.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that.
Great. Pour the first drinks, Mr. Barman.
He does.
So what check should I do here? Should we do
Well,
Is it-
so I don't know how your intestines work. I'm guessing they're going to process alcohol better than a human's.
They sure are.
What is there an ability you were looking at where you were like, that makes sense?
Not really. That's why I asked you. I mean, I guess we could try. Athletics?
Yeah, I'll say
Preparedness.
Preparedness?
I'll say it'll be opposed athletics checks, but you
Okay.
automatically get a +2 to yours,
Nice.
which he's not going to.
Cool. Okay. So let's.
And let's see if he has athletics that he can spend too.
Oh, I have so many athletics to spend,
Yeah, I mean,
but I also get +2.
yeah, because of your body, your robot body.
My normal human body, you mean?
Cool. So I'm gonna roll for him, and you roll for you, and tell me what you got.
Okay. So I get +2 automatically. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna add. Okay, that is a 6 because I rolled A 4.
And he got a 5.
Yes.
So you both drink a lot, and then he throws up? What's your goal here?
I want to make him pass out. I want to drink him under the table.
Alcohol poisoning is the goal, I believe.
So
yeah, we want to make sure he doesn't make it to his wedding.
Okay. Well, his friends all encourage him to continue drinking as you do, and he does get blackout drunk.
Nice. Perfect.
And when he's like super drunk and not conscious, he's saying to his buddies like, "Hey, whatever these guys say, don't let them take me away, or like, I think they want to kill me. Don't let them." And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
All right, I have a plan. I have a plan here.
First plan went so good. I like this.
Trust me, this is gonna go great. I have observed that the other humans here are not eating these eggs. Follow me on this plan.
Egg eating contest?
Everyone, I think that these eggs have gone bad, and oh no, something horrible is happening. And I'm going to use my intimidation ability and briefly and momentarily drop my disguise to look like a giant velociraptor.
Okay.
And they go, oh no, something horrible some horrible affliction that is undocumented because it's 1895 has struck me.
Cool. A witch's curse. A witch has cursed the eggs and turned him into a lizard. My wife is now a lizard.
Could you roll a D6 time check?
Sure, yeah. Can I spend points of reality anchor on this?
So reality anchor is to like heal someone who's suffering from. It's like
6. I got 6.
Cool. So that you don't cause a paradox by showing these people a dinosaur, but you do scare them into thinking they had a group hallucination, and they're going to like grab Oscar, who is like, "Oh!" and start pulling him out. And I don't know if you're looking for this, Jeff, but when he sees you, it's not a look of recognition on his face.
I see. Is this the first time he's meeting us? If so, it was a weird time for all of us. Well, how do we get him away from his buddies, Skeg?
Should I just start throwing punches and start screaming? I've already lost control and have been taken by a witch's curse.
Well, maybe. That seems like a good idea. Do you think Dr. Breen would say that was a good idea? I use her as my measure for good ideas.
Well, Dr. Breen doesn't believe in restraint. And so...
Let's see what Dr. Breen is doing.
Okay. So
yeah.
I'm whispering in your ear. Okay, have her take you along the path by the river where she's out of sight. We're just gonna knock her out because at this point.
What?
No, I have a better idea. We can make them think that. Oh, I have a better idea.
Well, we're not in the same place.
I know.
We'll just knock her out and send her somewhere for a few days, like let all of this weirdness pass. Maybe she'll meet the right guy, but like this is just not working on either side. I can hear people stumbling around outside of that stupid bar they went into. This is all falling apart. And you said some really nice things. I'm sure she appreciated them.
Yeah, this whole walk over, Mace is just chatting with Amy and getting relationship advice from her. Talking about the complicated relationship of having a crush on someone at work. And as she's talking, I'm just gonna kind of like lean and like try to stealthily talk to the side. It's like, really knock her out? Like I'm worried that will drive her insane to blip her somewhere else.
Fine. Keep on your walk then.
I just have this feeling that those two are really messing up the saloon. And maybe if we walk her by there, we can fix whatever they're messing up and also reveal to her the true nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Right, this is perfect. Let's just mem tag her and remind her. Oh God, we're creating more complications. Just remind her that her true love is actually Earhart.
Does
it not work that way?
As we're talking, I'll say, I mean, I think that this person might be the one, but I felt that way before. Have you ever had someone else in your life aside from your husband to be?
Someone else in my life? I mean, I fancied some boys in primary school, but nobody serious before Oscar. What are you getting at?
How do you know the one is the one?
I mean, we've been courting for 3 years, and he's just a sweet man. He's good to be. He's smart. I like being with him, and that's more than a lot of women can say about the men they're betrothed to. So I couldn't be happier, to be honest, Mr. Hunter.
Oh, he sounds like a wonderful gentleman, probably having like a really good, like just proper nice time at the saloon. We should go surprise him.
Well, it's improper to surprise a man at his stag party, but I don't mind being an improper lady. Yeah, let's go surprise that knucklehead.
Oh, you're so bad. And I'll steer her towards the saloon.
And when you get there, there's a bunch of people running outside going, "Crocodile!"
Mace is distinctly not surprised.
Like, what? What goes on at stag
Nor
parties?
would I expect him to be. Mace Hunter. Real pro.
Real pro. So okay, so you guys are outside the saloon now. Can we jump in? Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all in the same area.
So how do I role play this as a robot? Do we have any way of communicating with Dr.
Sure.
and Hunter?
Yeah, you guys have some kind of like Metal Gear Solid ear thing.
Right. So Viv is gonna ask the doctor, what would be the thing that would break a wooing for you or any other humans like me?
Stupidity.
Well, he's definitely doing that. We got him to do stupid.
A lack of respect for my intellect.
How do we make him disrespect her intellect in front of her? We have them together. He is doing stupid.
Oh, don't worry. She has no intellect to be respected.
Well, then, what would a woman like me, who's a normal human woman, hate most for a man to do to her?
If you check your paradoxometer, it has not changed at all in the time you've been here.
She for her many flaws, she is at least forward-thinking enough as a feminist that I believe she would be quite offended if he were to perhaps admit to her that he expected their potential future daughter, would be solely able to marry off and not have a life or career of her own.
I'm gonna tap my earpiece while Amy is distracted and say, is the woman in the saloon eating so many eggs, is that Skeg?
I mean,
Yes.
Perhaps Skeg should kiss Mr. Tote.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna use some points of disguise to change my appearance again to a beautiful, lovely woman
Okay.
Who isn't eating eggs?
who's not eating any eggs today.
And I'm just gonna charge in with Amy and say, "What is going on here?"
Okay. Go on.
Oh, I do declare. That's my Southern Belle voice.
I love it.
There was a terrifying monster from a witch's curse. Oh, it is the scariest thing that I ever did see. But all that's left now are us pretty Midwestern dames out on the town for a lovely night.
Yes.
Oscar's like, don't trust them, Amy. These time travelers is trying to trick us. He's...
Mace is gonna raise his eyebrow and turn to Amy and just says, "Is this the behavior he usually displays? I thought he'd be a man of more restraint."
No, he's not normally a drunk. I guess this is something more like some kind of man thing they need to do on their bachelor party day. He's not a drunk like that Edwin Earhart.
Gotta fix that later. Well, Viv is gonna follow Mace's instructions that he gave to Skeg and just give ol' Oscar a smackaroony on the lipperunos.
Amy's gonna punch you. She's like,
It does.
Get off of my drunk husband.
Do I take any damage from that? I am a robot.
What's your hit threshold for?
Yeah.
Yeah, she punches you, but it doesn't hurt at all.
There's like a dull metallic clunk. And I just smile and say, "This is what man and wife do, and he and I are man and wife." And I loop my arm in his. This is marriage. He screeched at me.
He's like, here's the thing. They don't want us to be together, but they don't know that we love each other. She is confused.
He sure said a lot of them lovey-dovey things to me, just a pretty Midwestern dame.
She's like, is that true, Oscar? Are you flirting with women and then accusing them of being time travelers?
He said I was the prettiest woman in this or any other timeline. I didn't know what that meant, but I thought it was very flattering.
She grabs him and is like, let's get you home and sober for tomorrow.
Well, that didn't work.
But I got nothing. That just did not work well.
Yeah. Doctor, save us.
Okay, I'm gonna use the taser then. Well, we tried the hard way. Now I'll do it the easy way. And I'm just gonna hit her with a pacifist disruptor.
Breen, when you pull out your pacifist disruptor and walk towards them, you feel like an iron hand grab your shoulder and a voice say, "Get the hell away from my parents!"
What?
And there's a woman standing behind him who looks like Amelia Earhart, but she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and she's wearing a futuristic power suit.
Okay.
And she says, "I'm Greta Tote, and I'm meant to exist."
Oh, okay. Perfect. I stun her.
Cool. Roll that attack.
Okay, so I have a thing that as a free action, I can tinker difficulty 4 with your weapon to increase damage or the stun rating by 1.
Okay.
So I would like to attempt to tinker first. because of course I want to dial. I got to dial in the settings individually for each shot. It's a very bespoke pacifist. So I'll spend 2 points for that, and rolled a 3, so that's a 5.
Okay.
And then
that hits her.
oh well, that was so sorry. So that was to tinker
that's-
to increase it. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm gonna spend the rest of my shooting to make sure that I hit Greta. Like I've only got 4 points left, so I'll spend 4.
Gotcha.
And I rolled a 5, so it's a 9.
9 to
Total.
hit. That hits
On
definitely.
shooting. Yep.
So roll a what's the stun amount?
Stun 5 plus 1, so that'll be 6 stun.
Okay, gotcha. So
Is that
like
good? I don't know what that means.
yeah, it'll be like she'll take that in like stun damage kind of. But it turns out she has a ton of health.
Oh, perfect.
So like her head like kind of jolts back when you hit her, and then she looks at you like, I don't think so. Timewatch.
Well, I have a name, but you
I
wouldn't
don't
be
know that.
bothered.
name.
Wouldn't be bothered to learn it, would you? I only invented time travel. Jesus, no respect.
Who goes next?
Who is the closest to the door?
Well, we're outside, aren't we?
Is everybody outside?
Yeah, we had stumbled out of the saloon.
Oh. We're all outside.
Yeah.
Do we recognize her uniform?
It's like a no, it's like power armor from the future.
But does it look like Nazi power armor?
Yeah, does it have jack boots?
Yeah, it's got skulls all over it and crap. It's black and red.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
So they're either from the Imperial Inquisition or Nazis. Mace, you figure it out.
Okay. With all of this happening and her having shown up, I am just going to grab Amy and look into her eyes so she can see into mine and say, this is going to sound crazy, but you're not meant to be with this man. I forget his name. You're meant to be with someone else and have another daughter named Amelia. And she goes on to be an amazing, strong, inspiring woman. Time travel's real?
She cries.
Oh no.
Well,
I hope Greta cries too.
She's like, no, I am the real daughter of. That's my mother you're talking to. Mama.
I really hope everyone's too drunk to remember this.
Oh no. Lisa's heart has broken. Mace just throws up his arms.
But because of the way you talk to her, she's not going to take any actions during this encounter. Amy's not gonna. Who's next?
Oh, right, that's up to me. I guess I will throw it over to Vid.
Yeah, cool. Great question. What am I gonna do? I guess since we've dropped all pretense of subtleness here, what's Oscar doing? Is he standing?
Yeah, he's super drunk, but he's okay.
Okay. I'd like to change that.
Okay.
Because I guess if we remove him, he's the grain of sand in the microchip. So I guess if he's real drunk, he should be pretty easy to stun, right?
Sure.
Sure, then I'm gonna stun him. I'm gonna get over to him and stun him. What do I need to roll? Shooting?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a 5.
Cool. So that hits.
Mm-hmm.
And does it just say 5 next to your disruptor?
I don't know where my disruptor is on this character sheet.
Cool. Well, it does on the other sheet I'm looking at, so I'm gonna assume that's correct.
Great.
And he also like takes a jolt of damage, but isn't knocked down by it.
He's drunk.
Yeah,
He's really drunk.
He is.
He should be. Okay. Is that the end of my turn?
He looks super woozy. That is. Who's next?
Just want to knock him out so we can mem tag him. Who's next? I'll throw it to Skag. Skag, what are you up to?
All right. So we've got a woman in power armor getting stunned. We've got a very drunk German man. We've got to neutralize this German man so that we can drag him off and then just, I guess, mem tag his soon-to-be bride so that she doesn't remember who he is, so that she comes to think that she's in love with another man. This is a whole messy situation. I'm going to throw down with Power Suit Lady. I'm just going to throw some punches.
Okay, awesome. Roll those attacks.
I've got Scuffling. I'm going to spend 4 points of Scuffling.
Mm-hmm.
For a total of 10.
Awesome. You hit her and roll damage.
All right. Is it just a D6 or is there another number?
Just a D6, unless
All
your
right.
sheet says something else.
That is 2 damage.
Awesome. Who's next?
Next, we will throw it over to who is left. I think Breen is left. Did Breen already go?
Yeah, I went first. I think it's just
Okay.
them.
Yeah, it's just them now. So I'm gonna throw it over. I'll throw it to Oscar.
Okay, Oscar is he's confused, but he does kind of know what's going on. So he pulls out a pistol that's in his back pocket, and it's clearly a 1940s pistol, not an 1800s one.
It's a Nazi pistol. That's what it is.
It is. It's a Luger, and he says, "Oh, I don't know who you are, but you're ruining my life." And he points it at you, Cat, because you just tried to stun him.
Fair.
It's gonna shoot.
Cool.
So 7 hit you
Yeah.
for 3 damage.
Owie. That's fine, actually. I have so much health.
Nice.
It just sort of another dull metallic thud.
And he lets Greta, his daughter, go next. And she uses a villain ability called Help Yourself. And another Greta Tote shows up in the from the future in the saloon, and she's holding like a big minigun with a laser cannon on the end of it. And
Whoa.
she's like, "No one will stop me from existing!" She
I mean-
starts shooting it at Skeg.
I feel like the bad guy.
I mean, yeah, but if she exists, Amelia Earhart doesn't exist, so we gotta choose one.
Yeah.
And she says, "My race is superior, by the way, to all other races."
Yeah, that,
I was gonna say,
yeah, that
isn't
confirms.
she,
That confirms
isn't she
who
a
that
Nazi
guy is.
sympathizer?
I think she's just a straight up Nazi.
7 against you, Stag,
That does hit.
for 5 laser damage. Pew 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 pew.
That's not great. I'm in the yellow zone.
Okay. So I think you're still alive, but that's not good for you.
No.
Okay.
And who hasn't gone yet?
I think we've all gone.
Just Amy, but she's like freaking out.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have told her time travel's real. Fix it later.
Greta, new Greta lets herself go again.
Jeez.
And the power suit Greta, who's standing next to her? Just Skeg or someone else? The first one that came in?
Somebody stunned her.
Yeah, I
Green
stunned.
dead.
I
Oh,
stunned
yeah.
the original Greta, but not minigun laser Greta.
She's gonna punch you with her like power suit fist.
That's pretty rude.
Does a 5 hit your damage threshold? I think it does, right?
It
For
definitely
armor?
does.
Yeah.
Yep.
For 4 damage.
So I subtract 1 for armor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, in which case I only took 2 damage then. Neat.
And then the second Greta that showed up is gonna shoot her laser gun at. Have you done anything aggressive, Lisa?
Nah, Mace is just like shaking Amy and trying to get through to her.
She says, "Get off my mom!" and shoots you with her laser gun. For a 4?
I have a 4 on a little shield in the corner.
Yeah, so that hits it for 5 damage. And they'll let drunk old tote go again. And he is too drunk to reload his pistol, so he's just gonna try to swing it at Viv. For a 6!
That hits.
For 4 damage!
Owie!
Clonks
Yikes.
you with it.
He clonks me.
And you can go next, Viv.
Okay. So I take 1 off for armor, so he actually only did 3 damage.
Yeah.
Still don't love it. Well, I just want to try and knock him out. Can I grapple him? Can I do what I did to the other Nazi?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Can I choke him out?
Yeah, you can choke him out, sure.
So, okay. Well, then I'm going to use a couple points of scuffling.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use 3 points of scuffling. And that's a 3, so that's a 6
Mm-hmm.
to hit him. And then I do nice 6 damage.
And because you hit him with the stun gun and he was drunk, that's enough to beat his total stun health.
Nice.
And he falls limp in your arms. And when that happens, Greta starts to fade out of existence, and she's like, "No!" And your paradoxometer goes down to like 25%.
Nice. Tight.
And Amy is like crying and pounding on your chest, Mace.
Oh,
You should
I
not.
guess all of this is happening really fast. So what Mace was going to do was he sees all of the Gretas attacking Leah, so he's like let go of Amy and is like running over towards Leah with his elephant gun. And then
it's
just kind
Dr.
of like,
Brain.
sorry, Dr. Breen, and just kind of like stops in the middle as the Gretas fade, feeling like maybe he's revealed too much.
Viv is gonna put both her fists up in the air and declare, "Viv is the hero today." Well,
So here's the situation. You have an unconscious Nazi time traveler who was about to marry Amelia Earhart's mom, who's been in love with him for 3 years. You have Amelia Earhart's mom.
What is the Amelia Earhart's dad's name again?
Edwin Earhart.
I'm just gonna shout out Edwin.
And
He's
he
drunk.
pops up from behind the bar and is like,
so I feel
gonna-
like we should grab Amy and Edwin and get both their memories wiped and just get things back on track.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Agreed.
Cool. So yeah, well, you tell me what you do.
Well, Viv's gonna go retrieve Edwin and knock him out to mem tag him.
And I'm gonna psychically knock out Amy, but in a very gentle way because I'm a psychic, so I can just like put my hand on the back of her head and be like, "Soothing river, babbling brook, a gentle summer breeze."
And
Put her
I'm
to sleep.
gonna lead Mace away and ask, and I'm gonna take my earpiece out so the rest of you can't hear. I'm gonna say, did you mean those things you said?
I I didn't want to complicate our working relationship, endanger the dynamics of the team, but you are morally challenged, probably insane, but definitely one of the strongest, smartest, most beautiful women I have ever met. I've met a lot of them. So many.
And I'm one of them, says Amelia Earhart, who walks into the room wearing a Timewatch uniform.
Yay!
And she grabs Oscar and says, "Don't worry, I'm one of the greatest Timewatch agents of all time. I'll figure out how to get him to do all those things he does in the future to make sure there aren't any paradoxes." And she hits him with a mem tag, and he disappears. And she, shakes all of your hands and says, "Thank you for making it so I, Amelia Earhart, exist." And she pulls out, a little hologram thing and hands it to you and says, "They recovered this from the oldest Tote's body after they analyzed him. It'll explain to you what happened. And I'm gonna go stop the Nazi Time Corps from ever existing. See ya." And she disappears.
Real pro. Real
Real
pro,
pro.
Amelia Earhart.
That's how a professional does it.
I wonder what happened to Fred.
What did you guys eventually decide should happen to Fred?
Fred is my friend, and I think that he should join Timewatch.
Fred is useless, and Fred should have been left on the island.
I think one more human in Timewatch is a good thing, but he should probably be administrative staff.
You know what? I'm probably with Vid. He hard boiled a delicious egg. Probably use him on the kitchen staff.
I think there's a spot for him.
And so it was that Fred Noonian became an okay cook for Timewatch. And Amelia Earhart prevented the Nazi Time Corps from ever existing, which is why they were trying so hard to kill her and prevent her from ever existing. And Oscar Tote hated you for all of his life for stealing his wife and his beloved daughter from him.
We did ruin that man's life. I mean, he was a Nazi, so to hell with him. But we did ruin that man's life.
To be fair, we 100% did.
Yeah,
Wait,
we deserved it.
Do we know that he was a Nazi before we ruined his life, though?
He was.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I feel no guilt.
That makes it
easier. It noted that we ruined his life, but he deserved it because to hell with him.
He intentionally went back to, and you find his personal diary in his time machine. He intentionally went back in time to stop Amelia Earhart from being born, but didn't realize that he would actually fall in love with Amy Otis and have a wonderful daughter whom he loved. And
well, too bad he was a Nazi.
Yeah,
that's a hard line.
He was a Nazi.
Yeah.
And his last entry is, "I do not regret being a Nazi."
Well, then, to hell with him.
Fuck him.
Go Timewatch!
That's
that was
exactly
fun.
how they would do it.
So
Yeah, what's up? Last thoughts? Final
that
thoughts? on
was super
Timewatch?
fun.
That was awesome. I
That
loved it.
was amazing. The characters are so fun.
Yeah, like I said, all of those characters are available on the Timewatch website, and the adventure itself is in the Timewatch role-playing game book, so you get that along with the game if you buy it, along with a few other adventures.
Yeah, it's a great
Fun.
game.
Would it,
Gumshoe,
would it
great
be-
system.
Would it be fun to reveal what all of our traits were, the notes on our character?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go nuts.
So, I hope this came across for Dr. Breen. Self-involved,
Yeah.
brilliant, amoral, creative, lonely, and vindictive.
Yeah.
For Skeg, it was brilliant, deadly, receptive, cautious, regretful, inquisitive, and funny.
Definitely got the funny.
Did you regret
Viv,
those eggs?
I did. They turned me into some sort of witch creature.
Viv is focused, precise, literal, effective, naive, secretive, and curious.
And Mace Hunter is a bold risk taker, hunter, brutally honest, gambler, hunter again, womanizer, and
Super
lovelorn. And I had a deep crush on a member of the party.
I wonder which one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My character sheet specifically, the one thing that I kept going back to was it says that for Vid, it is not human, yet all other agents believe that it is. Why does it not tell them the truth? Is this not obvious to everyone?
For my relationship with Hunter, it said a passionate 19th century African explorer and big game hunter. He's masculinity personified, except when he's sobbing into his whiskey, and a good man to have at your back. You have no use for his mind, but that's not what you'd be interested in anyways.
Oh, wow.
What was
So,
Mace's for
That's where that started. Just
Oh,
Lysa.
Mace's first skeg was a psychic velociraptor from an alternate timeline. Intelligent and friendly or not, a dinosaur is a beast, and beasts were put on Earth for man to hunt. Your friendship with skeg is conflicted, to say the least.
That's my favorite.
yeah. How did Vid see everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, Vid has a lot of notes. Skag is to be treated with confusion, kindness, and care, as this creature cannot logically exist. Let's see. A mace cares more for his emotions than he does for the quality of his kills.
Ouch.
And
Yikes.
yeah. Dr. Leah Breen is paying her respect as the most efficient means to manipulate her, whether or not she's worthy of it.
Oh.
Wow, Vid is real.
Vid is a robot.
Literal. Very literal.
Yep.
Cool. So why don't we go around once more? Everyone plug your stuff again, your Twitter, your podcasts, your what have yous. Let's start with Shane.
Yep, I'm Shane, at Mundangerous on Twitter, and I am one of the hosts of the Total Party Thrill podcast, which is an RPG discussion podcast that releases every Thursday.
Yes. Jeff Stormer.
Jeff Stormer, at Party of One Pod on Twitter, partyofonepodcast.com. That's my actual play about two-player role-playing games. allmyfantasychildren.com is my character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast. And I think that's it. Yeah.
That's a lot. Good job.
I do a lot of things.
Cat Faye.
I am the Dungeon Master for the Dames and Dragons podcast on Don't Split the Podcast Network. You can find that at damesanddragons.com or on the Don't Split the Podcast Network site. I can be found on Twitter at Kazbots, Kazzbotz.
Nice. Lysa Chen.
My name is Lysa Chen, and you can find me on Twitter at MercifulDM. I also host a podcast about women and tabletop RPGs, which you can find at beholdherpodcast.com.
Nice. And our game master, Vegas Lancaster.
Yeah, you can see me on Twitter at Vegas Lancaster. You can see my weird musical improv duo at catandvegas.com. And you can see me playing or DMing in prior and hopefully future episodes of this feed, the Don't Split the Podcast Network presents.
That is
thing.
correct. Yes. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to the players. Thank you to Kevin and Pelgrane Press for making this game. It is really unique and fun in a world where there are plenty of unique and fun RPGs. So thank you, everyone, again. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Farewell.
Farewell.